They destroyed the Uzumaki clan.
But they created their worst enemies!
What if Naruto and Kushina took revenge on Konoha?
Hello everyone, welcome to What If Naruto and Kushina Took Revenge on Konoha After Uzumaki Clan's Destruction movie. Before we start, please go support Gabriel Casas 545 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken characters' gender, but of course Naruto is a male. In this story, Kushina will be alive. She will be located by Naruto. Over time there will be an Uchiha massacre. Although there will be more survivors in this story, Naruto pretends to be an idiot, but he is very intelligent compared to or superior to Shikaku's intelligence. Naruto something dark. Kushina somewhat dark and vengeful. Manipulative sandame. Konoha is guilty of what happened to the Uzumaki clan in history, it will be said. Naruto will be Op. Kushina, Op. Shisuima's Op. Slight cross with Bleach. Chapter 1. The beginning of a legend. In the village of Konoha, everyone thinks it is a place where everyone is happy and the will of fire always prevails, but it is not like that for everyone. Not everything is what it seems, since this same village that boasts of being the best, that of noble and good-hearted people, that teamwork is the most important thing, but it is all false, since near the red light district, a little Naruto of 4 years old was in his small apartment, talking to his one of the strongest beings in the world. A being that even the cages fear and respect, a being that Naruto sees as his older brother of what to do from now on, since he wanted to get stronger, he wanted to be strong to be able to defend himself from any shinobi of Konoha, and have his revenge against all those who hurt him, against all those who despised him. Naruto, we can start my training. I want to be strong and you know well that I need to be as strong as possible, since Konoha wants me as their pet because I am their Jinchuriki. I know that I am currently stronger than any genin or student at the academy, but I am not strong enough to defeat the jounin of the village. Kurama, puppy, you know very well that if I put you to train at this age, bad things can happen to you. You are very small. We agreed that when you turn 6 I will begin your training. You know very well that you have to wait a little longer, Naruto. Naruto, Kurama, you know well that I need to train. I don't want to be weak. I need power to be able to get out of this pathetic village soon. I need power to be able to protect myself from this village that imprisons me and wants me as its pet. Kurama sighed. His cub was very stubborn, and he was right. He had to get stronger to escape from Konoha, and he knew that the only place that had a great variety of jutsus was the Namikaze mansion. Kurama gave a small smile, since Naruto resembled his mother in stubbornness, and with the intellect of the pathetic yandere. Kurama frowned, remembering the idiot yandere. Kurama, okay puppy, we'll start your training, but first we'll go to the Namikaze Yuzumaki mansion to your parents' house. Naruto opened his eyes in surprise and smiled, as Kurama would finally train him seriously, and he could become so strong that even Hashirama and Madara paled against him, or so he hopes, since he knew the power of both legends, and he wants to be stronger than those legends, and leave his mark on the shinobi world. Naruto, thanks Kurama, you are the best. We will go to my parents' house, maybe there is a way to free you after all. Both were sealing masters, especially my mother, after all she is a real Uzumaki. Kurama smiled and nodded, thinking of some training routines so Naruto can get stronger, or he would make Naruto become so strong that not even the pathetic Madara and the peace-loving idiot Hashirama could against his cub. It's been almost 3 years since Kurama the nine-tailed Biju agreed to train Naruto. In this time the blonde Uzumaki had strengthened considerably to such an extent that at the age of almost 7, he could already fight and defeat most of Konoha's jounin. In this time Naruto was able to awaken his adamantine chains, one of the 4 Kekkei Genkai of the Uzumaki. On the other hand, Naruto at the time of discovering his affinities had been surprised, and in the case of Kurama, he almost had his jaw open, since Naruto had the 5 chakra natures, having as main affinity wind and fire, and as secondary earth, water and lightning, but there was also something that almost left Kurama in shock. Since Naruto had 2 strange Kekkei Genkai, the first was the Mokuton, the wood element of the first Hokage, and the second was the Shakuton, the burn element of Pakura of Sunagakure. Also, Naruto was able to increase his chakra reserves and have enormous chakra control to the point that he could rival the Slug San and Tsunade Senju. At this time Naruto learned Fuinjutsu, being able to rival Jiraiya. In terms of seals at present, Naruto was going to a training camp, or more exactly to the Forest of Death, where one of the few people he esteems also trains, which was Anko Mitarashi, who since he Uzumaki removed the cursed seal of Orochimaru from her, she swore loyalty to Naruto. The same happened with Yakumo Kurama, which was able to solve her problem with the demon Ido, and thanks to that Yakumo swore loyalty to Naruto for making her a normal person. And finally the same happened with the Hyuga heiress, the princess of one of the most feared clans in Konoha. This was being beaten by members of the main branch, but she was rescued by Naruto, who killed by charring said members. Since then the Hyuga heiress had great admiration for Naruto, being only loyal to him, not to the village, and Certainly not to the Hyuga clan, only to Naruto. He was their leader, and to whom they would always be loyal. The trio of women trained in secret, thanks to Naruto and Kurama that Naruto was able to summon in miniature size, supported them to strengthen themselves without the Hokage or anyone in the village suspecting. Currently Naruto was going to one of his training camps that was near the Forest of Death. While Naruto continued walking, he felt several presences, so he went to see, since it made him very curious, since it is rare that in that training camp there are people trained, until suddenly he heard several explosions which intrigued him even more, since it was rare for that to happen, and he wondered who would be fighting in that place. Naruto, what do you think will happen at that Kurama training camp? Kurama, I have no idea, puppy. It also seems strange to me that someone trains in that place, since it is the training field furthest from the village, and those explosions do not sound like a friendly fight, but like a real battle. Naruto. Well, I'm curious, I wonder who will be battling those explosions and chakra signatures. They are not normal. There are 2 cage level chakra signatures and several mid-jounin level and jounin below an elite jounin level, and since one of those chakra signatures seems very familiar to me, I feel like I know it. Kurama. 2 cage level chakra signatures, that is rare. There are some currently in Konoha that are at that level, being only Jiraiya, the perverted toad, who is at a medium cage level, the old monkey from the 3rd is at a medium cage level, the crazy warhawk is at a medium or low cage level, Kakashi Haddock is in elite jounin, maybe he is at a low cage level, Shisui Uchiha is also at cage level, Fugaku and Makoto Uchiha are also at a low cage level, Anko. Mido Gai and Itachi Uchiha are in the elite jounin, very close to the cage level. Naruto. Lose Kurama, although the Mode and Jiraiya are ruled out, the Toad Sage is out of Konoha, and the Hokage is in his office, and Makoto Uchiha is in her house, so she is also ruled out, the same with Anko, she is in the Forest of Death or in it. Well, it will be interesting to see who is fighting. Kurama. Be careful, Naruto, I know you are at the middle level of cage, you are strong for your age, you are easily at the level of the old monkey, but don't be too confident, there are 2 levels of cage and several jounin. Naruto. Lose, don't trust me, you don't have to worry, but if something happens I'll have to escape, it's time to see who fights. After Naruto said that he easily changed his clothes into those of an Anbu with a fox mask, having next to him his trusty Zanpakuto, which he was able to find in the Uzumaki Namikaze mansion. Not even Minato knew about this sword, only Kushina, who hid it under hundreds of seals, where the only one who could use it would be her descendant, her son, since even though Kushina loved Minato, she knew that he would put Konoha above his family, and he was capable of finding out about the sword. He would give it to one of his students, or worse yet, he would give it to the council, and that was something that she would never allow. The explosions were getting louder and louder, and Naruto saw with wide eyes who was fighting and was somewhat surprised, since they were Uchiha Shisui, one of the few who really took care of him when he was 3 years old. He was Uchiha who took care of him from the matron of the orphanage where he lived. He remembered well, he was the only Uchiha who didn't have a stick up his ass. Naruto. I will go save Shisui, I will not let one of the few who protected me die, and he is one of the few Uchihas who are not trash as shinobi, and as people I will not allow him to die, he proclaimed. Kurama frowned, but said nothing even though he hates the Uchihas. The Kyuubi knew well that this Uchiha was good, hell even by his way of behaving, he seemed more like a Senju than an Uchiha, and that for him was something strange. Meanwhile with Shisui, the Uchiha was fighting against Danzo and his root when the Warhawk attacked him by surprise, where they almost took out an eye if it weren't for his great speed that thanks to that he could barely dodge. Now he was panting, since fighting with several high-level jounin and an elite jounin who was easily on par with Asuma Sarutobi, one of the 12 guardians of Fire Ninja, was difficult without counting fighting with the idiot Danzo who he knew was close to cage level. Danzo. Give up Shisui, you are clearly tired, we outnumber you, brat. Killing you will be for the good of Konoha with your eyes, I will be able to make a better Konoha, a Konoha where I reign, where I am its god. Kukikuku. Shisui frowned, he had killed several of Danzo's root Anbu, of the 30 Anbu only 6 remained, one of those the leader of the Anbu, but he also had to worry about Danzo, the devil was screwed, but at least he would take those he could with him, he would not give up. Anbu leader. Finish him off, he's weak, it's time to end this battle for Danzo-sama. Kill the Uchiha quickly before he escapes. Cut off Uchiha Shisui's head. The rest of the Anbu nodded and went against the Uchiha who was still panting from the battle, but suddenly a large ball of fire against the Anbu, charring 3 of them, where the 5 Anbu barely escaped but was somewhat surprised that someone had attacked them. The same with the Anbu leader and Danzo, since they did not feel anyone near the place, which put them on guard. Naruto. Ara Danzo, San and Anbu gentlemen, what do you think if I join this party? After all, I find it very unfair that one fights with so many high-level opponents. Shisui, Danzo and the Anbu watched in surprise as a boy wearing an Anbu suit and a fox mask on his face came out of the bushes. Naruto. Well, since no one answered me, I'll take it. If you want me to join this party, it's time to play with you, Anbu. It will be fun to finish off all of you trash, but especially with you, old warhawk, you are worse than trash. I will wipe the floor with you and your entire organization, one-eyed rude. After Naruto said that, in a flash of speed, Naruto cut off the heads of 2 of the 3 remaining Anbu. The leader of the Anbu and Danzo, the old warhawk, narrowed his eyes at the boy in front of him. He didn't know the boy and didn't remember someone so young being Hiruzen's Anbu then. Who was the boy in front of him? He was strong, easily at the level of an elite jounin if not more, and that was worrisome. He knew that Shisui was weak and about to faint, but the boy in front of him was fresh. And he didn't know his abilities, and that was bad for him and his Anbu, but he needed Shisui's Sharingan, so he would take the risk, even if he had to sacrifice his elite Anbu. Danzo, who are you? You're not a normal Anbu, and I'm not sure if you're an Anbu, so answer, why are you protecting the Uchiha? It's for the good of Konoha that Uchiha dies, so move away or I'll have to kill you too. Naruto, Elder Danzo, just call me Fox, and well, I protect this Uchiha for reasons that do not concern you, stupid old man, and I will tell you this: attack him again and well, you will die pitifully in a horrible way. After all, Uchiha Shisui was under my protection, and anyone who is under my protection, I will protect with all my power. Danzo frowned and indicated to his Anbu to go for the brat while he takes care of Shisui. The Anbu obeyed his master's order, but before he could do anything, a blue ray pierced his heart, killing him, making Danzo stop in his tracks, since one of his best Anbu died as if it was nothing. He knew that his Anbu was somewhat weakened, but at least he thought it would take a few minutes to die. I told you they would die if they went after Mr. Uchiha-chan, said Naruto with a small chuckle, seeing Danzo's angry face and Shisui's eyebrow twitching for being called Uchiha-chan, but he didn't say anything. Well, since you don't want to retire, then die, old man. Chan Shakuten burn element bombardment of the god of fire, shouted Naruto after Naruto said that several fireballs were placed behind him and were launched towards Danzo, who opened his eyes in shock to see the famous burn element of Pakuro's son Agakure was in Konoha and in the boy in front of him, and the old man cursed under his breath as he was barely able to dodge, although his left arm was somewhat damaged by his opponent's burn element. Jutsu? Naruto. Oh, I see that despite being an old age you are still considerably fast, although you disappoint me. Danzo frowned and realized that the boy in front of him was not normal. It was better to retreat, since he realized that the boy would most likely kill him if they fought and went to the next level, since the boy in front of him was easily a solid cage level shinobi, and that was bad, since he was barely at the level of a low level cage. Although it made him angry, he knew he had no chance with the brat in front of him, so in a shunshin he retreated, not wanting to risk dying. Well, Shisui.kun, it's time to go, since I feel several chakra signatures approaching, said Naruto, appearing behind Shisui, who barely noticed. Since he was very weakened, Naruto took advantage of that and knocked him out and disappeared in a whirlwind of fire, arriving at the Namika's mansion to be able to heal Shisui and avoid the stupid Anbu of the Hokage who were coming lest they be discovered. He has to continue acting stupid so that no one suspects what he is doing. Minutes later, Hokage Hiruzen had arrived along with several of his Anbu, and they saw with surprise how several bodies were decapitated. Hiruzen. Anbus, load the bodies. I want you to investigate what happened in this place. I want to know who killed these shinobi. Do it as quickly as possible, this can't be left unsolved. Hiruzen's thoughts. I know they are Danzo's Anbu, but I wonder what happened. Not just any ninja can easily take out so many Anbu and disappear as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, with Danzo, the old warhawk was frowning, since he could not get hold of Shisui's Sharingan, and that was bad for his plans, but it did not matter. He would keep the Sharingan of the Uchihas that Itachi killed in the massacre. Was not a complete loss, although he wanted to have Shisui's power. He has to investigate the brat who attacked him and his Anbus, since it was noticeable that he was not an ordinary Anbu. After all, he felt his chakra reserves, and they were above an average cage. Danzo's thoughts. I wonder who that damn brat was. Wasn't he just any shinobi? If he had fought that kid, I'm not sure I could defeat him. Damn, I don't have Shisui's Sharingan because of that stupid brat. That Sharingan was more valuable than any Sharingan, and the worst thing is I can't tell Hiruzen anything about this, since he'll start investigating me. No matter, soon I'll finish off Shisui and that brat. End of chapter. Chapter 2. Uchiha Massacre and Savior. A couple of hours have passed since the battle of Danzo and his Anbu against Shisui Uchiha. Currently Uchiha Itachi, along with Tobi, also known as Uchiha Madara, were preparing to annihilate the Uchiha clan. In Tobi's case, since he hated his clan, and in Itachi's case, he eliminated them so that they would not carry out the coup d'etat that his clan was planning, all for the good of Konoha and his little brother. Meanwhile, at the Uzumaki Namikaze complex, a sleepy and half-drowsy Shisui could be seen in a bed with his chakra half recovered after Naruto had healed most of his wounds caused by the Anbu and Danzo. Where am I? What happened? The young Uchiha wondered, somewhat stunned. After all, he was very weakened since your battle with Danzo. You are in the Uzumaki Namikaze complex, it's a pleasure to see you again Uchiha Shisui, said Naruto with his Anbu attire, and with a very friendly voice, so that his guest would not be intimidated. After all, he knew that it was not normal for an Anbu to be able to fight with so many opponents and face Danzo Shimura at the same time. Shisui was startled by the voice, and although he knew the voice was a child's, he was startled because he did not feel the presence of the voice. Naruto noticed that Shisui was somewhat nervous, even though the Uchiha tried to hide it. He realized thanks to his training with Kurama that the Uchiha was very nervous by his presence and blamed him, since he would be too if he were in the older Uchiha's position. Because you saved me, what is it that you want from me, and how is it that we are in the Namikaze mansion? If only someone of his blood can enter, then how do we enter unless you are part of his family, said Shisui, opening his eyes in compression. He realized that the boy in front of his eyes was not only a boy who was at the level of an elite jounin, perhaps a low kage level, but he was also a relative of the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze, the fastest kage in Konoha, and an SS rank shinobi. That's right Uchiha Shisui, I'm a relative of Minato Namikaze, but you know me well, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, but my full name is Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, said Naruto taking off his mask making Shisui open his eyes in shock and disbelief, since he never thought that the noisy boy who claimed to be Hokage would be the boy who saved him from Danzo and the Anbu rude, and not only that, but killed the Anbu and even made Danzo retreat, who from what he saw was easily under cage. Shisui. How is it possible that you are Naruto if you don't even have shinobi training? How is it possible that you can have the level of an elite jounin at your age? Simple deception is the best way for a shinobi, and you know that well Shinsui, that's why I faked my personality, since if I was very intelligent the Sandaime Danzo and the civil councils wanted my head for having an intelligent weapon, they don't see me as a human, but as a demon that they can use as they please, Naruto said coldly. This made Shisui grimace as he knew that Danzo and the civilian councillors wanted to do that, but the Sandaime heck he doubted that the old Hokage would want to do something like that to the son of the Yondaime Hokage, the fastest Hokage in the history of the shinobi world. I see that you doubt that Hiruzen wants to do what I told you problem Naruto with cold eyes, but suddenly his eyes changed to ones of surprise, since he was a censor and felt how several lives were being extinguished in the Uchiha district and cursed himself, since he suspected what was happening the Sandaime Hokage and Danzo Shimura sent to liquidate the entire Uchiha clan so that there would be no civil war. I know that your clan was planning a coup d'etat, I also know that they want to use me as a weapon against the Leaf Village, but I'll tell you this won't work for two reasons. The first is that I'm stronger than any of your clan, even stronger than Fugaku, Itachi and you, and two because of what I'm feeling, the Sandaime and Danzo sent one or more ninjas to liquidate your clan, since I feel that several energies of the Uchiha district are disappearing, Naruto said with a sigh. Since he knew that most of the Uchihas were trash, but there were some who didn't deserve to die, among them Mikoto, Izumi, Itachi, among others. Shisui opened his eyes in shock, he didn't know how the boy in front of him knew about the coup, much less how he found out that Fugaku wanted him as a weapon, but what he mentioned about several chakra signatures in the Uchiha district being disappearing impressed him because of Naruto's detection radius and terrified him because his family was being wiped out. Well, he didn't care that much about all the Uchihas, there were only a few that he appreciated and he would do everything possible to save them, especially his best friend and his cousin. He wouldn't allow them to die, so he stood up, ready to go to the Uchiha compound, so as not to allow his precious people to die and fight against the attackers. Shisui. I need to go, I need to save at least them, I don't want them to die, they don't deserve to die for those who wanted to carry out the coup. Naruto looked at Shisui with an eyebrow raised, but inside he was somewhat uncomfortable seeing tears coming out of the young Uchiha, it was strange to his eyes, so he sighed, he knew that if he did what he thought of doing it would be complicated, but he would do it for the person who did everything possible to take care of him when he was younger, he was not ungrateful to the people who supported him. Kurama agreed with Naruto's thoughts, but frowned because his cub wanted to save the Uchihas. He knew that most of that clan were arrogant and trash, but there were some who were saved like Mikoto Uchiha, Izumi Uchiha, Nao Uchiha, Itachi Uchiha and the fool who was crying. I'll ask you, do you want to save your entire clan or who exactly you want to save? Shisui asked Naruto curiously, since from what he heard from Shisui, he wanted to save specific people, not his entire clan, but he had to be sure. Shisui turned to look at Naruto and couldn't read him, but he still responded somewhat nervously, since it seemed that Naruto didn't look like a child, but rather like a leader. Shisui. I would like to save my clan, but I know that most of them are beyond saving. If it were up to me, I would save the children and my cousin and best friend. They are the only ones I care about and who do not deserve to be killed. Naruto nodded in understanding. Even Kurama, who was listening to the conversation inside Naruto, nodded to what Shisui said. Since children did not deserve to die because of the decisions of adults, if he were in favor of that he would be an idiot. So Naruto went to talk to Kurama in his mental space to make a decision regarding whether or not to support Shisui to save the Uchiha clan. Naruto. What do you think, Kurama? We support Shisui and save those we can from the Uchiha clan. You know very well that not all of them are bad, although in this case it is only a minority of that clan. Kurama. As long as those who save our children and the Uchiha girl who treated you well, I have no problem, since they did nothing wrong to you. Even if I hate the Uchihas, I know that some can be saved. Naruto. Well then it's time to save the Uchiha. I know the Sandaime and Danzo will want them dead, so they will have to live in the Namikaze mansion. I will put up several extra barriers so that no one notices that there are people at home. Kurama. Well, if you need support, let me know. Now go with the fool and help him save the clan of fools. Naruto. Well, I'm off. It's time for me to finish talking to Shisui. He's getting impatient since he wants to save his family. I don't blame him. I would like to do the same. Well, Shisui, if you want to save the Uchiha children, I will support you, said Naruto with a resigned sigh. Shisui opened his eyes in surprise, but smiled, since with Naruto's help, he had a much greater chance of being able to save the Uchiha children. Shisui. Thank you, Naruto. I promise I will return this favor. Thanks for the help you gave me. Naruto. Well, it's time to go. Let's not waste time. Several chakra signatures of the Uchiha clan are disappearing. Shisui nodded, and both he and Naruto disappeared from the Namikaze Yuzumaki mansion towards the Uchiha compound to save the children of the clan, who did not deserve to die for the foolish bastards who want to coup d'etat. A few minutes later, Shisui and Naruto could be seen both in Anbu clothing at the entrance of the Uchiha compound, with Naruto being the one with a frown, as he felt a very sinister chakra. Naruto. Shisui, be careful, there is a sinister chakra. I want you to go and rescue the children you can. Your cousin and friend, they are your priority, so do it. You hide in the Namikaze Yuzumaki mansion. As soon as you finish rescuing your people, you will wait for me at this entrance. I will see you in 10 minutes maximum. I will go deal with that chakra. Shisui. Okay, Naruto, but be careful. If the person you're dealing with is too powerful, run away. I don't want you to die. You've already done a lot for me and now for my clan, so don't let your pride let you continue the battle against someone who may be stronger than you. Naruto nodded and disappeared in a whirlwind of flames towards where the dark chakra signature was that according to Kurama seemed very familiar to him, and that was what made him curious, wondering who that person was until after a moment he appeared and he saw with surprise how a masked Uchiha was fighting with Izumi Uchiha, Shisui's best friend and one of the few Uchihas who did not hate him and who did not have a stick up his ass. Kurama. That's the Uchiha who forced me to attack Konoha, that Uchiha who captured your mother and extracted me from her. Naruto, be careful, he is easily at the level of a high-level cage. If you confront him now it will be very complicated. Naruto. Lose Kurama, I want to kill that Uchiha, but my main mission is to rescue Izumi Uchiha. Besides, I still don't think I can defeat him, maybe give him a good fight, but that space-time jutsu that you told me about and explained will be very difficult to overcome. I still haven't researched much of that jutsu, so it's not the time to give it my all. Kurama nodded, knowing well that Naruto was right. He knew his Jinchuriki was strong, but he didn't know how strong the opponent was, so it would be better not to give it his all just to rescue the Uchiha. Naruto saw how the Uchiha was about to kill Izumi, so he made hand positions and set air release air pump, thus sending a large amount of air towards Tobi, who, not paying attention to his surroundings, the attack fell full on him and sent him flying towards one of the Uchiha's houses. After doing that, the Jinchuriki disappeared in a whirlwind of fire, appearing next to Izumi, who was somewhat injured after fighting with the one called Tobi. Naruto. Izumi.san, go to the main door, Shisui will be waiting for you there. Be careful, there may be other people killing your clan. I will deal with this masked fool. I have some scores to settle with him, and don't worry. Izumi opened her eyes in surprise because the Anbu in front of her was easily a child. Hell, he may barely be the age of Itachi's little brother, but when she thought of his name she frowned, since he was killing her clan. She knew about the coup, but killing teenage children was wrong. He only had to kill the adults and leave the others alone, but no, that bastard was killing all the Uchihas. It disgusted her, just for having loved that man who now in her eyes was garbage. Izumi. Be careful, the masked man is not the only one who is liquidating the clan. Itachi is also killing the rest of the clan, both women, men and even children. I don't know what happened to Itachi, but he is not the same. Naruto nodded and was somewhat surprised. He never thought that Uchiha would betray his clan, but he dismissed it for the moment, since now he was facing a cage-level opponent, so he did hand positions and made 3 shadow clones. Naruto. You 3 go with Izumi and make the space-time barrier to take everyone to the estate and protect them from Danzo and the Sandaime quickly. The clones nodded and guided Izumi to where Shisui was to put up the barrier and go to the Namikaze Yuzumaki estate. Meanwhile Tobi was recovering from the shock of Naruto's attack, and when he woke up he frowned, since he didn't feel anyone attacking, so he got up and left the house where he was sent flying, and he saw with surprise how an Anbu child was in front of him, but he didn't see the Uchiha woman anywhere, so he frowned, since his target escaped, and that couldn't be allowed. All the Uchihas had to die. Tobi. Who are you, Anbu boy, and what are you doing in the Uchiha clan compound? Get out or die with all the Uchiha. Naruto. You'll have to find out who I am, you dumb cheap Uchiha, killing your clan is disgusting, maybe you're doing this because your parents or family never loved you, right? Tobi frowned and bristled as he heard the brat tell him that his parents and family didn't love him. The brat would pay for such an offense. He would torture the brat for several days for saying such words to him. Naruto noticed that Tobi was getting angry and smiled, since he knew what buttons to press to screw someone. He laughed to himself, the same with Kurama, who watched him used as his puppy was screwing the cheap Uchiha. Naruto. I see that I touched a nerve in you, right? I wonder who you are. I'm curious to know who is behind that mask. I am Uchiha Madara, the strongest Uchiha, said Tobi with an emotionless voice. Naruto. Hahaha, you're Madara, that's a joke. I know very well that Madara would never hide behind a mask, his pride will not allow him to do such a cowardly thing, so tell me Uchiha.kun who you are, since you are definitely not Madara. Tobi frowned, but said nothing since the Anbu brat in front of him was someone who got on his nerves, so he drew his sword and in a burst of speed, went against Naruto to cut his head off. Naruto noticed this and took out his Zanpakuto, easily blocking Tobi's attack, making Naruto smile, and with his other hand, raised two of his fingers pointing towards Tobi, and said Hadam 4 by Akurai, white lightning, thus a large amount of energy gathered in his fingers and went towards Tobi, who opened his eyes in shock and took a few steps back and became intangible. Tobi. I don't know what attack that was, but I'm surprised. It's the first time I've seen that kind of jutsu. I now understand that you shouldn't be underestimated. You're not a normal kid or Anbu. Your reflexes are easily on par with an elite jounin or even a Kage. You're interesting. Tobi's thought. If I continue my fight with the brat, I know I can defeat them, although the fight will be very destructive and would draw too much attention from other shinobi. Naruto's thoughts. This Uchiha has good reflexes, now I understand why father had a hard time defeating him and Kurama at the same time and protecting me and the village at the same time. This ninja is on par with the Kages and may be stronger than most of the current Kages, this will be very complicated. Tobi. Well, Anbu.sa, and I think it would be better if I went. This battle may have been left unfinished, but very soon I will kill you for interrupting me. Remember that, Anbu.sa, and you will soon die by my hand. Naruto. Yes, whatever Uchiha says is cheap, the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki mocked shamelessly. He wanted the Uchiha's corpse, but he knows well that it will be difficult to defeat him. Tobi narrowed his eyes and frowned at the offense of that brat. A brat gritted his teeth and disappeared, promising that the Anbu brat would pay dearly for the offenses and for not letting him kill that girl. At least he had already killed almost the entire clan. Itachi could finish off the rest with ease. Naruto sighed the moment Tobi disappeared, since he knew well if the fight was enacted more he knew he would lose. He knew he was not as strong as Tobi yet, but he dismissed it and disappeared in a whirlwind of fire and went to where Shisui was with a few survivors of the Uchiha clan. Kurama. Puppy, don't feel bad, you know very well that if you fought the Uchiha with everything you had, it is very unlikely that you would win, especially since your body is not fully developed, the same with his chakra reserves, the power of that Uchiha is even superior to that of the imbecile Shisui. Naruto. Lose Kurama, but you know very well that Uchiha owes us a lot, he screwed you, he screwed me, and he screwed my parents, and you know it very well, so we will get the masked Uchiha no matter what it costs. Kurama. Lose Cub, but it's better if we prepare ourselves, we must go quickly to Shisui's place, we hope everything is okay, he is one of the few Uchiha who can endure. Naruto nodded and disappeared in a whirlwind of fire, heading towards where Shisui and Izumi were. He needed to go fast so he could take them to the Namikaze Uzumaki estate before the Sandame Hokage comes to check on the Uchiha compound. Meanwhile, with Shisui and Izumi, both Uchiha had been able to save barely 11 Uchiha from the massacre. The first was an Uchiha now, Shisui's cousin, who was barely 13 years old, while the rest were young people between 8 to 10 years old that Shisui was barely able to save from Itachi without him realizing, thanks to the great genius of Genjutsu, that was now the Uchiha group was waiting for Naruto, although they were all in a great Genjutsu. Since Itachi had recently left the Uchiha estate. Naruto clone. Guys, you don't have to worry about the boss, he's already coming back soon. You'll be out of Danzo the Sandame, Itachi, and that Tobi guy, you don't have to worry, we'll be your backup if something happens. The other Uchiha nodded gratefully at being saved by Shisui and that boy who, according to Izumi, was strong enough to face Itachi's companion, who was also massacring his clan. After a few minutes Naruto appeared in a whirlwind of fire appearing next to Shisui, who sighed in relief that Naruto was okay after he was fighting against a masked Uchiha. According to Izumi, a powerful Uchiha who was easily on par with an elite Jounin or a low cage level ninja. Naruto. Well, we have to go quickly, being a cage level firm and several Chunin and Jounin level firms approaching. It's time to go to my case, we can't let you get caught by the Sandaime. After Naruto said that he made hand positions along with his clones, and they all shouted at the same time Fuinjutsu Uzumaki teleportation gate, after saying that a small gap opened where everyone could see the Namikaze estate. Shisui and Izumi were very impressed, while the other Uchihas were amazed by what Naruto did. Okay, come in quickly, it's time to go, Naruto ordered. All the Uchihas nodded and went through the door. Naruto dispelled his clones, also going through the door, and made hand positions, closing the door. After Naruto along with a few surviving Uchiha appeared the Sandaime, along with a large amount of Anbu. Anbu, look for the survivors quickly, ordered the third Hokage with a commanding voice, implying that he wanted at least one survivor. The Anbu nodded and disappeared in swirling leaves. Hiruzen's thought. Unfortunately the Uchiha clan had to die, idiot Fugaku, if they hadn't planned that coup d'etat this wouldn't have happened. I suppose the only survivor is Itachi's little brother, someone manipulable, but well, at least with little Sasuke I'll be able to mold the Uchiha for my benefit. I don't need another clan that wants to carry out a coup d'etat and weaken Konoha so that other villages destroy it. With Naruto, Shisui and the rest of the Uchihas, they were talking about what was happening and regarding the Uchiha massacre and the order the Sandaime and Danzo gave to Itachi and why they gave him that order. They told him about the coup that the Uchiha were planning under Fugaku's command. The Uchiha children understood what happened, hating Fugaku for planning the coup and harming their clan. Hating Itachi for massacring their clan and hating Danzo and the Sandaime for giving the order to massacre their clan to children, to teenagers like them who had nothing to do with Fugaku's idiotic idea. But they were also relieved that thanks to Naruto who saved Shisui from death they were able to live, and at the same time, they were somewhat sad to the point that all the Uchihas had their Sharingan, either 2 or 3 blades, while Izumi and now for the pain of losing their clan were able to awaken their Manjikam Sharingan. Impressed and alarmed Shisui and intrigued Naruto. Naruto. Guys, calm down, I've put several high-level seals around the house so you won't stay here, nothing will happen to you. I'll look for a place where you can be calmer. Inside the house there's a training tower so you can learn your taijutsu, and here there's an elemental library where you can train your elements. Shisui. Fine, but you won't go alone, I will support you. I am so good at illusions that no one in this village, except Itachi, could have a chance of breaking them. Naruto frowned but nodded, since with Shisui's support, it would be easier to develop his plans, while Izumi and Nao supported the training of the children. Naruto knew that it was best to leave Konoha and make the country of the whirlpools rise again. He had to go to his homeland and bring it back to greatness. He needed to pull the strings well, so that the whirlpool rises above all the shinobi villages, even if he had to crush the 5 great nations. This time the Uzumaki would no longer be calm. If they attacked them, he would attack with everything, but he needed allies to increase his power, he needed alliances, but soon he would get them, and then Konoha would pay for everything it did. End of chapter. Chapter 3. The whirlpool is reborn and the encounter with a mother. It's been approximately a little over 2 years since Naruto was able to save the few Uchihas from the massacre by Itachi and Tobi, the so-called Uchiha Madara, or as Naruto called him, the Uchiha, due to family problems. In these 2 years, Naruto made a blood clone to momentarily replace him while he and Shisui disappeared from Konoha, going to the land of whirlpools in order to rebuild it, which in these 2 years he was able to do with ease, thanks to an ancient seal placed by the first Uzukage, which was a space-time seal, which when activated Yuzu could be rebuilt as if nothing had happened to him. In this time, Naruto was able to recruit some clans and wandering ninjas, among these the Uzumaki clan that Naruto was able to rescue and were scattered around the world. Although they were not many, they were enough. Among them were Uzumaki Kenshin, Kushina's younger brother, and an Uzumaki easily cage level on par with a deceased third Raikage. Then there was the Yuki clan, which was a clan specialized in the element. The Ice who fled from Kurigakure thanks to the Yonde Mizukage was massacring all the clans with bloodlines. Another clan that was incorporated by Naruto was the Fuma clan that was in command of Orochimaru, but was rescued by Shisui and Naruto. Also rescuing several ninjas, among them was Karen Uzumaki, Jugo, Guren of the crystal element, Yukimaru, Sagetsu and Kimamaru Kagaya, the latter being apparently the last of their respective clans. I feel all these shinobi only loyal to Naruto, since he took them out of Orochimaru's lair. On the other hand, Naruto was able to rescue a woman named Pakura from the burn element who was an S-rank kunoichi, who was betrayed and sold by the Suna council, and the Kazukiage who feared the power of her Kekkei Genkai and almost killed by Kurigakure ninjas, but was saved by Uchiha Shisui and Uzumaki Naruto, where they were able to kill all the ninjas who cornered her. Thanks to the fact that they saved her, Pakura swore loyalty to them. Since she knew that she was betrayed, so she could not go to Suna, since they would kill her as soon as she entered the sand village, and she had nothing left in that village, only her former student Maki. She also owed her life to Naruto, so he would be the only one she would serve. Also several of the clans and high-level ninjas who joined the Whirlpool along with the rest of the Uchiha clan, who were able to go with Naruto to the new Whirlpool country, since the Uzumaki used the Flying Thunder God Jutsu, being able to teleport the Uchiha, who were able to settle safely in Yuzu, all this thanks to the late Yondaime, leaving notes of his jutsu in the Uzumaki Namikaze mansion, where Naruto was able to learn the infamous jutsu for which Minato Namikaze was known. The yellow flash of the Leaf Village, all this was done very carefully without the large ninja villages noticing it. This was very easy, since Kurigakure was in a civil war, Konoha was weakened, and did not pay attention to people who disappeared. Sunagakure did not take importance to what happened in other villages, since now they were more concerned about the lack of money, and in the case of Kumagakure and Iwagakure these did nothing. Since they had not even noticed the disappearances of several renegade ninjas and wandering clans. Currently Naruto was near Kumagakure, along with Uchiha Shisui, both had become very well known in the shinobi world as the Red-Eyed Demon, and the Golden Fox, currently both listed as S-rank shinobis in the shinobi world. Both were looking for Uzumaki Kushina. Since according to the information they stole, she survived but was sent on a long-term mission to Kumagakure, which Shisui found strange since Kushina would not accept unless she had been lied to about Naruto, and he assumed that she was told that Naruto was killed, so Kushina had nothing to do with the village coming on a long-term mission. Naruto. What do you think my mother will do when she sees me? According to the information we were able to gather, she thinks I'm dead because of the Sandaime and Danzo, but soon they will pay for what they have done to both me and you, Shisui. This time they will suffer to the point that they will beg to be killed. Shisui. I feel that at first she won't believe you, since I suspect that she trusts Hiruzen. We just have to show them the proof that you are alive. Naruto frowned, since the damn Sandaime lied to his mother about him being dead, or he would make sure that Konoha and the Sandaime paid dearly for the betrayal made to his family and his clan. He would make Konoha burn. After a couple of hours, Naruto and Shisui ran into Uzumaki Kushina near a small town where they both saw that she was facing almost 50 Anbu from Kumagakure, where they saw Sia Joun rank ninja, and class B high A low in the bingo books. Next to him was Nai Yujido, a kunoichi of rank A high/S low in the bingo books, and saw her mother fight on par with all of them. It was noticeable that her mother was a high-level kunoichi, easily a cage level. Naruto. Well Shisui, it's time to interfere. I won't let Kumo have my mother. I know she's strong, but she could get hurt in battle. You deal with the blonde, I'll deal with the girl and some Anbu. Shisui. Understood Naruto, be careful, she is Nai Yujido, a kunoichi at the level of an elite jounin, if not higher. You must be cautious with the Jinchuriki of the two tails, after all, she is very powerful according to what she was able to investigate. After that, they both disappeared in a whirlwind of fire and a whirlwind of wind towards the battle, appearing next to a surprised Kushina and some nervous Kumo shinobis. See. What are the Red-Eyed Demon and the Golden Fox doing here if Kumo hasn't done anything to them? If they don't attack Kumo, they will kill them. I warn them not to attack us. Both Naruto and Shisui smiled under their masks and disappeared in a burst of speed and cut off the heads of several Anbu, leaving only 15 of them, along with C and Yujido, who looked somewhat nervous at their opponents. Yujido deals with the Red-Eyed Demon, along with half of the Anbu deal with the Golden Fox, the others attack Uzumaki Kushina for the honor of Kumo. Everyone attack and finish them off. C roared, the Kumo ninjas ruled and went against their enemies. Yujido went, although inside her the two-tailed Biju was having a conversation. Madatabi. Kitten, I recommend that you do nothing, do not attack those two. I feel the power level of those two shinobi and they are definitely above your Reikage. I even think that either of those two boys could fight against both Killer Bee and your Reikage together. I don't know if I could defeat them, but I could definitely deal with both cage level shinobi. Yujido. Lose Nibi, but I can't disobey or else I'll be executed. You know very well how they treat me. The only one they treat well is Killer Bee for being the Reikage's brother, but they treat me like garbage, as if I were a demon. Madatabi. You got a kitty, let's just hope you don't die in this battle. The boys who appeared are not normal. The powers of both are at a high cage level or even higher than them. They are powerful individuals. Meanwhile with C the Jounin of Kumagakure and the group of Anbu they were fighting against Naruto, the blonde had defeated almost all the shinobi that came for him, either by cutting off their heads or stabbing them in the heart of his opponents. Dai Kumo ninja said Naruto coldly. Hado number 54 Heian, deserter flames, thus sending a stream of flame, turning C to ashes. Well I'm done, the truth is those Kumo.nin are very weak, that C guy was not an A rank ninja, he was definitely a B rank ninja, maybe I hope Shisui and Kushina do well in their individual fights, Naruto said to himself with Kurama nodding his head, since that Kumo ninja was very weak. Meanwhile with Kushina the Redeed was cutting left and right all the Kumo.nin with a smile on her face, since she hated the Kumo ninjas, since the Reikage tried to kidnap her when she was a girl at the academy, that if it weren't for Minato, she would be a breeding machine. Kushina. Die Kumo ninjas, I will destroy all of you garbage Kaiten fire element fire dragon. After Kushina said that a huge fire dragon went against the Kumo ninjas destroying them leaving them ashes to their immense joy. I wonder why they helped me the red-eyed demon and the golden fox they seem so familiar to me, especially the golden fox well after these battles are over, I will ask them, and if they don't answer me well, I will finish them Kushina thought with a frown. While with Shisui he was finishing off his opponents, although for him it was more complicated since he was not only fighting against the Anbu but against Nai-Yujido, the Jinchuriki of the Nibi the two-tailed demon cat. Yujido. Get ready red-eyed demon, it's time to move on to level 2. I'll defeat you. I can't lose otherwise Kumo will kill me and the Reikage will torture me. I'm sorry, but I'll have to kill you and take your head to the Yondaime Reikage. It's time to fight. Shisui. I understand Jinchuriki of the Nibi it's time to fight get ready. Kitten finished speaking the Uchiha somewhat amused, knew he could against Yujido, she was a ninja rank A of danger, with the chakra of the Nibi, maybe rank S medium of danger, but he could handle that, especially with his Sharingan the woman in front of him is strong, but he knew he could handle her, he wasn't so worried after all, he was above any of the 5 current cages, although he knew that the Reikage, the Hokage and the Tsushikage are the most dangerous due to their vast experience. Yujido. I see you have confidence in yourself, we will see who is stronger, red-eyed demon, it's time to fight, prepare to be defeated by me. After Yujido said that a red and blue aura surrounded her implying that she was using the Nibi chakra, but before she and the Anbu attacked Shisui, everyone could hear and see with surprise and horror, the golden fox would release jutsu wood dragons like this Naruto, sending several wooden dragons towards the Kumo ninjas, killing them being Yujido, the only one who could survive the attack, but when she was going to attack several chains tied her up and she felt how her chakra disappeared little by little but she still fought until suddenly Shisui appeared in front of Yujido and said 5-point seal, causing the Jinchuriki of the Nibi to open her eyes and faint losing connection with her Biju. Go get the Jinchuriki of the Nibi, we will take her, we will make Kumo pay for what she did, Naruto said and ordered, the Uchiha nodded and carried Yujido, hoping to find out what other orders his boss would have, but he was still on guard, since even though Kushina was not an enemy, she was not a friend either, and he has to be attentive to everything that happens. Kushina. Well red-eyed demon, golden fox, what do you want with me, and why did you help me deal with the Kumo shinobis? It is not proper for you to save Konoha ninjas if the rumors are true. Naruto. Simple Uzumaki Kushina I've been looking for you for a long time I know you're not in Konoha, since you think your son died, but they lied to you, your son Uzumaki Naruto is not dead, he is alive and was mistreated by the village which you trust the village in which your precious Yondaime sacrificed himself and they spit on his legacy. Kushina opened her eyes in surprise and tensed, since if the boy in front of her was telling the truth about her son being mistreated by the village, then the old mummies of Himura, Kahari Danzo and Hiruzen, lied to her, and worse still her baby was mistreated by the village that her husband defended the village that she defended, but she frowned, since something was wrong. Since very few knew where she was, and she did not know how these 2 S-class ninjas located her so easily the same thing happened with the Kumo ninjas, she does not know how they located her, unless the mummy sold her to Kumo to get rid of her, and that she can never meet her baby, but as these 2 found her. I see you realize no Kushina-sama the elders of Konoha and the Hokage sold you to Kumo, they wanted to get rid of you, since they knew that at some point you will discover that the boss was alive, and that would be detrimental to them, since they would want a loyal weapon as a Jinchuriki, said Shisui with a frown behind the mask. Since the elders of the village were trash in his eyes as well as most of Konoha, and they would fall in due time, and he would make them pay especially that stupid warhawk. Kushina opened her eyes in surprise and shock, but growled, she wanted to have the heads of those Anbu, the Konoha elders and the Hokage, she would kill them, she would have her revenge for everything they did to her baby, but something intrigues her, the red-eyed demon called his son boss, what does that mean, the Redeed wondered with some curiosity and caution. Kushina. You called my son boss, so that means my son knows I'm alive and sent you to look for me. True, how much influence does my baby have for 2 high-level ninjas recognized throughout the shinobi world to come look for me and recruit me? That's right mother, I knew you were alive, I discovered it a while ago, thanks to the fact that I infiltrated the Hokage tower and stole and copied some files harmful to Konoha, as well as copying the forbidden scroll Kukuku, the Sandaime must put better security, it was very easy, the truth said Naruto taking off his fox mask, where you could see his beautiful hair and the eyes of a warrior. Kushina opened her eyes in surprise and disbelief, since her son was the Golden Fox, a ninja without an S-rank village. It is said that he is on par with a high-level Kage, since several villages wanted to recruit them but could not, since he sent his ninjas in pieces to their villages so that they would stop bothering him, the Golden Fox being highly feared throughout the shinobi world by a large number of ninjas. But then she saw with surprise how the red-eyed demon took off his mask and saw in astonishment how in front of her was Uchiha Shisui, one of the most powerful Uchihas who was supposed to be missing or dead, according to what she investigated, and smiled, since her son had a powerful ally against Konoha. Kushina. I see Sachi that you have a powerful ally against Konoha, who would say that Shisui.kun would be an ally of yours, according to what I heard he was on par with an elite Jounin perhaps Kage level. But I see that he has strengthened considerably, perhaps soon I will test my skills with a little Uchiha after all. There are few people who could face me, and having to practice with someone of the caliber of Shisui.kun will be beneficial in the long run. Naruto. And not only is he my ally, some time ago I was building Yuzu is currently not as strong as one of the 5 great nations, but it is powerful enough to take down the small villages. So you say mother, will you join me? Will you join Yuzu? I want you to help me strengthen our people. I want this time we do not stay quiet. I want Konoha and the other villages to pay for what they have done to the Jinchurikis and the Uzumaki clan. It is time mother for the Uzumaki to rule over the world, so you say. It is time for mother and son to have their revenge against those who betrayed us, against those who tried to destroy our clan, our family. Kushina opened her eyes in surprise, disbelief and shock. Her son rebuilt his country, his nation, of course he would help him and take revenge on the nations that destroyed his people. There will be no mercy anymore. It is time for the world to know the wrath of the Uzumaki, but something was eating her up. It was how Naruto was here, since if he escaped from Konoha many Anbu would already be looking for him, since he is the possessor of the Kyuubi, the strongest Bijuu of the elemental nations. Kushina. There's something that makes me curious, Sachi. How is it that you are here? You should be in Konoha, so that people don't suspect what you are planning. So how is it that you are here? I don't think you have left a shadow clone, since even though you have large chakra reserves, those maximum clones in your case would last a couple of days, maybe a week. Naruto smiled at his mother's discovery that she was so smart and powerful a kunoichi that even the Kages fear, especially the pathetic Reikage who, although fast and strong, could not defeat his mother in a 1 versus 1. After all, his mother is an SS rank kunoichi, being even a rival for his father, and from what he saw his mother had become much stronger. Naruto. Simple mother, what I made is a blood clone. That clone is in Konoha behaving like an idiot, saying that he wants to be the Hokage, asking for attention, so that the idiot Sandaime Hokage does not suspect. Also, I left a pair of tails of my brother Kurama, and in case you wonder, he is the Kyuubi, so that there is no suspicion if they want to check the seal that the clone has, so there is no problem. Kushina opened her eyes in surprise. Her son called the Kyuubi brother, that was very interesting. Who would say that the furball would become friends with her son? This will be very interesting. Soon Konoha, and those who destroyed the Uzumaki clan, will be destroyed or conquered. Kukuku River, Kushina sadistically internally. Meanwhile in Konoha, the Sandaime Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi was talking with his rival the War Falcon Danzo Shimura about what happened in the Uchiha massacre by Itachi and about Naruto, the current Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Hiruzen. Well Danzo, what do you want in my office? I'm busy, so tell me quickly what you want. Danzo narrowed his eyes and frowned at Hiruzen's lack of respect, as he hated that he was the Hokage, as he hated that Hiruzen was his superior in rank. But soon, very soon, Hiruzen will die, and best of all at the hands of his student Orochimaru. Kukuku. Danzo laughed internally, as soon he would get rid of Hiruzen, and he would be the new Hokage. Danzo. I wanted to talk about having the Kyuubi Jinchuriki train him to be Konoha's weapon. You know well, Hiruzen, that villages have their strong Jinchurikis, and ours is a weakling. We need to train him to be Konoha's ultimate weapon. Hiruzen frowned, since he knew why Danzo wanted the Jinchuriki. He knew the potential that Naruto had for being the son of Minato and Kushina, and being the Jinchuriki of the strongest Bijuu, he would be the strongest weapon of Konoha. But he would not allow Danzo to have Naruto, since he knew that if a Jinchuriki had no emotions, the Bijuu could get out of control, since the seal that Minato placed on Naruto required above all emotions, and that was bad. Since if Danzo left him without emotions, then he could release the 9 tails and screw the village. Hiruzen. Danzo, I will not give you Naruto, because if you train him you will leave him without emotions. He will be a loyal weapon. You have no reason to doubt that. He sees me as his grandfather figure, the one who saves him from the mobs, and he will remain loyal for me and for Konoha. Remember, stop frustrating my plans, so that Naruto is loyal to Konoha, or next time I will not have mercy on you. Do not frustrate my plans, and take out this tome again. Danzo snorted but said nothing. He just shook his head and left the Hokage tower. He knew that Hiruzen's plan would not work. That old monkey had become soft and stupid. He did not remember all the atrocities he had committed in ancient times, the deaths of several politicians and high-status lords, to cause the Third Ninja War, the massacre of the Uzumaki clan, when he sold them to the cage of the other villages, and now he does not want him to train the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. The old monkey had become more stupid than he thought. Meanwhile in the Forest of Death several people were gathering people who have a grudge against Konoha and its people for everything they lived, people who were treated as outcasts, either by their respective clans or by their village. These people were Anko Mitarashi, Ikumo Kurama and Hyuga Hinata, all of these being repudiated either by their clan or by the village for various reasons, all being saved and faithful followers of Naruto, for giving them an opportunity for freedom, either from the village or from their respective clans. These women were gathered waiting for Naruto or his blood clone. Since he had information regarding Konoha and other villages, information that was necessary for the future of all of them, and for the future away from Konoha, so that they can live in peace and without the need for Konoha to oppress them. I see that you are all gathered, it is good to see you, Anko, Yakumo, Hinata, said Naruto's blood clone with a smile, seeing his three informants and loyal subordinates. The three women looked at each other and nodded to their leader. Hi Naruto-sama, what do you have to tell us, because we met something happened with the real you, asked the snake lady curiously. Naruto nodded with a sigh, since he knew that Anko was related to his mother in terms of sensei and student, and knowing that she was alive would shock her quite a bit, but he had to tell her, since he didn't want to lose Anko's trust, one of his most loyal subordinates and a friend. Naruto. Well, I want to inform you that the Whirlpool plan is already underway, in addition to that my mother Kushina Yuzumaki is alive. Recently the real me found her fighting with Kumagakure shinobi who are now destroyed. At what Naruto said, Anko opened her eyes in shock, since her sensei Kushina Yuzumaki the Red Death is alive, while in the case of Hinata, she frowned when mentioning that the Kumo shinobi attacked Naruto's mother. She hated Kumo with passion, since because of them she lived through hell with her clan. She would soon take revenge on Kumo and her clan. My sensei is alive, asked Anko happily, since her teacher was alive, but inside she was also somewhat angry, since the Sandaime told her that she died, although she was also a little angry with her sensei for not telling her that she was alive. Naruto nodded. Well, Anko, Yakumo and Hinata, I want you to listen carefully to everything I say. In a couple of years, Orochimaru attacks the Leaf Village along with Sunagakure. When that happens, we will rebel and leave this town. Maybe my mother will come too. Wait a few years, Anko, my mother also wants to see you, but she can't right now. We need to strengthen both Yuzu and ourselves. If you see someone who can be saved from Konoha, we will get them out. There are good people in the village, although that amount is minimal. Meanwhile in the land of whirlpools, the Uzukage Kenshin Uzumaki was talking with Uzumaki Kushina, Kimameru Karen, Sujetsu, Gurin and Jugo about an important mission that will determine the future of a country and a future alliance with the people of that country, that if they manage to complete the mission successfully, they could have a strong ally. Kenshin. Well, Kushina, you will be the leader of this mission. Everyone must have masks. We can't let them recognize you. Well, you will be bodyguards of Princess Koyuki of the country of snow, and her guardian will help her recover her country. If we have you as allies, the technology that you will provide us will be very good for our people. The others widened their eyes in surprise at the mission entrusted to them, but nodded their heads accepting their cage's mission. Kushina. Okay little brother, I'll go and destroy all the daimyo's enemies. Don't worry, Kushina Yuzumaki never fails a mission. Databane. End of chapter. Chapter 4. Journey to the Land of Waves. It's been 6 months since Kushina Yuzumaki the Bloody Habanero and her team escorted Princess Koyuki, who is now currently the new daimyo of the country of spring, and thanks to Kushina and her group, who were able to save Koyuki, this earned an alliance between the country of whirlpools, the country of spring, one so strong that Koyuki was preparing for the war that is coming in a few years against the enemies of the whirlpool, and even the daimyo now trained in the ways of the shinobi and the samurai, thanks to Kushina who helped her open her chakra coils and gave her a training routine to become strong enough so that she can defend her country. Currently Naruto, Shisui and Pakura were going to the country of waves to be able to destroy Geto for the oppression he was doing to the country. This mission was done since the country of waves was very close to Yuzu. Well Naruto, are you sure the information is correct? Zabuza Momochi, the demon brothers and an Anbu are employed by Cat of Comparisons, Cat, a tyrant who crushes small countries and puts them under his thumb, asked Pakura curiously, since facing Zabuza was not just anything. She knew she could defeat him, but it would cost her a lot. Since he is currently the second or third strongest swordsman, being Kisame the Tailless Bijuu the strongest mist swordsman easily at the high level cage level, it is even said that he was stronger than the current Mizukage. Naruto nodded, knowing that his uncle's information network was rarely wrong, and he was sure why Zabuza was employed by Geto. The swordsman wanted money to send him to the Kurigaka rebellion so he could become the Mizukage. "Oh, then how much will we arrive at the land of waves?" asked Shisui curiously, since they have been on the boat for a long time and he was getting bored of doing nothing. Hell, he wanted to fight, he wanted to test his strength, he knew that now he was much stronger than when he was attacked by Danzo. He knew that currently he could defeat Hiruzen for two simple reasons: the Hokage was old and weakened, and two, because he learned to handle his Sharingan to a greater extent, and now he had his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan that he got recently after implanting the eyes of his grandfather Kagami Uchiha and Uchiha at the cage level, and thanks to that he had become much more powerful, and now he did not have problems with blindness. Naruto sighed, somewhat annoyed, since Shisui kept asking what time they arrived at the land of waves, and sometimes he wanted to kill Shisui. Sometimes it was very annoying, but he answered him anyway. "Naruto. Shisui, we will arrive in approximately 20 minutes, so stop asking, you are stressing me out." Shisui pouted but nodded, since he didn't want to upset Naruto. He knew that sometimes he could be like Minato-sama, but when he got angry, he behaved like Kushina-sama, and that was bad for anyone, and he didn't want to be the recipient of her anger. Hell, if Kushina scared him when she was angry, Naruto was worse. In just over 20 minutes the trio had already arrived at the land of waves to finish off Geto and free that country, and if possible have him as an ally. Meanwhile, in Naruto's mind, Kurama was with his eyes trembling, since the Uchiha in front of his puppy stresses him out with his stupid questions. Damn, that Uchiha brat looked more like a senju, and that stresses them out, since those tree huggers were mostly pacifist morons. Kurama's thoughts. The Uchiha will be related to Senju Hashirama is as much of an idiot as the one who stressed, because my puppy couldn't find a normal stoic and emotionless Uchiha. Shisui, Naruto, I will face Abusa. I want to see how strong he is. It is said that he is easily at the level of a high A class, maybe an S class ninja. If the rumors are true, I want to test myself against a swordsman of the mist. Bakura. The fog demon is strong, but he is not at your level. Shisui, you could easily deal with 2 of the 5 cages who are currently in power. Naruto. Bakura is right. Shisui, you could easily fight 2 S-class cage level ninjas without problems in a standstill. Zabuza will not represent that much inconvenience for you. What I wonder is why Zabuza is working with trash like Geto. Shisui. Do not exaggerate, I know I am strong, but I doubt I can fight against 2 cages. I know I could fight against any of the current cages, since there is none as strong as the 3rd Raikage or like Tobirama and Minato-sama. Those 3, if the legends are true, are easily at the top of the cage level, if not sighing at the high cage level. Naruto. I believe you are at the level of the 3rd Raikage. I have already tested your power to the maximum, and according to Kurama.ni, your power level is as high as Senju Tobirama, the 2nd Hokage at his peak, and Kurama.ni is not lying, since he saw Tobirama's power. In addition, you have an affinity for fire as strong as Tobirama has for water, so your level could easily deal with 2 cages. Bakura nodded, since she had fought along with Izumi and Guren against Shisui, and they barely matched him, being Guren and Izumi high A rank ninjas or maybe S low level of an elite jounin, and when fighting with him along with her friends, she understood that he was one of the strongest ninjas in Yuzu, if not in the entire elemental continent. Though she knew he was at the level of the Yondaime Kazuki, maybe a little stronger, and she knew that Shisui surpasses her by far. She knew that her boss's right-hand man was powerful, although at the same time he was very childish and idiot, and that made her roll her eyes. She did not understand how the powerful had such strange personalities. First Jiraiya of the Sannin with his perversity, Tsunade with alcohol. Orochimaru a pedophile and Shisui a childish Uchiha, being all of them cage level ninjas. Bakura. Naruto. Shisui, let's go quickly to the house of that stone builder. We need to talk to him and tell him why they sent us. We need to finish this mission as quickly as possible, since something is coming. Naruto nodded and signaled Shisui to be quiet for the love of Kami. He talks a lot and needed him to be silent, as he felt several presences approaching him, and that alarmed him a little, as there were several chakra signatures at the Genin, Chunin and Jounin levels. Sighing, he prepared for the massacre he was going to do to those idiots who are after him. Give up, idiots, and give us all your money. They heard a ninja they didn't recognize say Naruto. Bakura and Shisui frowned, and the trio sighed, since now they had to fight the idiots in front of them, and that stressed them out a little, since the power of what was in front of them was nothing. Bakura's thoughts. I think I'll turn those pathetic ninjas into ashes, the way they look at me makes me sick. Naruto's thoughts. I think I'll torture them, maybe I can have their skin removed or then bathe it in salt to make them suffer. The feelings I feel from them are very dark, and I don't like how they're looking at Bakura. If I were to capture them and do that torture, I think Mama gave me a little of her sadistic punishments that she uses on her enemies. Well, it doesn't matter. Shisui's thoughts. The eyes that Bakura-chan and Naruto-sama are making me nervous. I think Kushina-sama's sadistic side has rubbed off on them, and that was bad, very bad for their enemies. I think I'd better stay out of it for my own good, or maybe I'll help her finish off those ninjas. I just hope for a good fight. "Get out trash or you'll end up in ashes," said Pakura coldly with her eyes shining and releasing a little of her chakra ready for battle. The ninjas were somewhat intimidated by the amount of chakra Pakura was releasing, making them break out in a cold sweat until someone said something that made Pakura's eye twitch and made them want to torture all those pathetic ninjas who, in their eyes, are trash that needs to be exterminated. Shakutan element burn bombardment Calciner said and made hand positions Pakura causing several small fireballs to form behind her, causing them to go against the ninjas who saw some with surprise and others with horror. The jutsu at the moment that Pakura sent her fireballs and made contact with the ninjas, these were turned to ashes, leaving nothing of them, although despite the jutsu, there were some who managed to dodge them, although they were terrified of Pakura for such jutsu. "I see that some of you survived my attack, not bad for disgusting trash," said Pakura with a half smile as she saw the ashes of several of the stupid ninjas who believed they could against her, let alone Naruto or Shisui, who were much stronger than her. The former Kenwaichi of Suna laughed internally. "Shut up bitch, everyone, throw your attacks and finish off the bitch and her two companions," said the leader of the ninjas, thus several ninjas doing hand positions and throwing fire, water, lightning, wind, earth jutsu towards Pakura, Shisui and Naruto, who were not impressed at all by the attacks. "Akadmati one dank, void division," said Naruto calmly forming a barrier that defended them that at the moment of colliding with the jutsus of their enemies, caused a gigantic explosion that made a large amount of smoke appear so no one could see anything. Shisui took advantage of his opportunity and in a burst of speed went against his enemies, cutting the rest of them with ease. "Well, we're done. I guess these ninjas were hired by Geto to torment the population," Naruto said with a frown, thinking about what method to use to torture that cheap dwarf. "Those ninjas who came for us are nothing, the truth is they are very weak. I suppose that is why Geto hired Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist, a high rank A missing ninja bordering on rank S," said Pakura with a frown, since he wanted Geto's head on a stake to show to the people and see that the mobster who tormented them was dead. Kukuku, Pakura laughed internally at his thoughts and the ways he would torture Geto's tyrant. "Well, it's time to go to the village. We have to investigate the place. Put on your masks. We can't let them recognize us, since you Pakura are supposedly dead. Shisui is supposedly missing, or at least that's what Konoha thinks. Well, I'm supposedly in Konoha. We can't let them discover us, not for now, so put on your masks. It's time to finish," Geto ordered Naruto calmly. Both Pakura and Shisui nodded in understanding to their leader as they knew that Jiraiya the Toad-san spies could discover them if they weren't careful, and they still couldn't reveal themselves to the world until Yuzu was at his full power to conquer the elemental nations. After an hour of finishing off the ninjas who attacked them, Naruto, Shisui and Pakura in Anbu-like clothing arrived at the land of waves to investigate the villagers about everything that happened and what Geto did to the town, since they wanted to know who else was with Geto to finish him off once and for all, and if it was possible to keep his company. "Well, let's go to a tavern there, we'll find more information easily," Shisui said calmly, since he knew that in those places people talked easily, and he also wanted to go eat something. Who knows, maybe they'll have some dangos or a little sake. It's been a while since he had a drink. Both Pakura and Naruto looked at Shisui and narrowed their eyes, since they knew why Shisui wanted to go to a tavern. The idiot wanted to have a drink, but they also understood that in a tavern, it would be much easier to find information about Geto and the ninjas under his command, so they sighed, giving up. Also, who knows, maybe they could eat something, a ramen in Naruto's case, and roast meat from Pakura, although they both doubted that there was such food because of the tyrant Geto, who stole everything from the poor villagers. "Okay, let's go Shisui, we'll look for a tavern, who knows, maybe there's ramen in the village," Naruto answered with a somewhat happy voice when mentioning ramen. He may have faked his personality in Konoha, but the only thing he didn't fake was that he loved ramen. 10 minutes later the trio of S-rank shinobis arrived at a tavern in the village where when these three entered everyone looked at them in a bad way but did not say anything. They did not want problems with the villagers, in addition to that they understood that it was not the villagers' fault that they saw them badly since they had suffered enough and they understood how distrustful they were with strange people, so when they entered this, they sat at a table to make their order and who knows. That information. After a few minutes of sitting, a bartender approaches the trio to serve them, although the trio could see that the one who served them was looking at them with distrust, so they sighed, since it was obvious that they distrusted them and they knew why they had to be careful not to offend those people. They did not want to harm them. They were civilians who had suffered the tyranny of the mobster Geto and the ninjas hired by that dwarf. After the trio entered and sat at one of the bar tables, they placed their orders with the bartender, who looked at them cautiously but served them equally kindly. "Sir, why do people look at us strangely, either with great caution or with some disgust?" asked Naruto, although he knew more or less the answer, he just wanted more information about what was happening in the land of waves. It was clear that they were suffering according to what he could see and what was investigated. The bartender sighed, well, you see, young people, a while ago, Gato arrived, and we thought he was a good person who would help us improve the country. He deceived our daimyo and took over the country by kidnapping children and women to sell them. In the case of men, he enslaved them. And so we have been for a while. That is why everyone looks at you with caution. They are very afraid that you are just like Gato or that you work for him. That is why they are distrustful, just like me. The bartender finishes speaking with some sadness as she remembers all the families who lost a child, a mother, a wife because of Gato. Naruto opened his eyes in surprise. He knew that Gato had done bad things, but he didn't think it would be worse than what he imagined. Meanwhile, Pakura and Shisui looked at Naruto somewhat worried, since they noticed that part of his killing intent was coming out of him, and that made them uncomfortable. But suddenly Naruto calmed down, since people who had tormented the country by Gato's orders entered. Those who entered were a total of 30 bandits, along with Aoi Rakusho, a jounin of AIM who betrayed Konoha and stole the sword of the Nidaime Hokage. In addition to his genin group, they all had an arrogant smile that made everyone in the bar nervous, while in the case of Naruto, Shisui and Pakura, they looked seriously at those who entered, especially Naruto who wanted to massacre everyone who entered for torturing those from the people of the country of waves. Bartender, hurry up, we have to collect the weekly fee from the rest of the town, Aoi ordered with an arrogant smile. The bartender frowned, since he didn't have the money to pay these thieves, he knew they would kill him. He wasn't strong, so he sighed tiredly. We don't have the money to pay. So many people don't enter this place anymore. The bartender replied with a bit of sadness and hatred for everything they have done to his business. Aoi narrowed her eyes and said, you know what's going to happen. We'll take your daughter as payment, right? Your daughter will be enough to keep the cat at peace. So give me your daughter so I can leave you alone. Take advantage of this opportunity, bartender.san. The bartender hugs his daughter and says over my dead body. Aoi replies that would be a pleasure. Aoi was going to cut the bartender until Naruto appeared in front of him in a flash of speed and threw a punch sending him away. Everyone is surprised. Both Shisui and Pakura nodded at Naruto. They smile and say it's time to pay scum, and they launch themselves against the bandits and Aoi's genin group to massacre them. After Naruto knocked Aoi out with a blow, he gets up somewhat dizzy and sees Naruto and says, so you were the one who hit me there, kid. You're a fool. With the sword of the god of thunder I am invincible, and I bet I don't need it. With a dwarf in mind. Seconds before Aoi can start his monologue, he was talking to Kurama who was laughing, because that Aoi guy thinks he is invincible for having that strong sword if it is the sword, but the ones Naruto has are legendary, that thunder sword does not compare. The Kyoka Suigetsu sword, which is practically almost indestructible and being able to have complete hypnosis, something that even surpassed the Uchiha Sharingan and was even the most terrifying, since nobody or at least almost nobody realizes that he is in the illusion. Naruto was thinking something similar and says Kurama. Nor are people so stupid to believe that a weapon makes them invincible, so Kurama nods. They were going to continue talking until Aoi in his monologue said the worst word that they could say to Naruto, and that word is dwarf. At the moment that Aoi said that in the environment you could feel death itself, and Naruto looked at Aoi with his eyes shining, and behind him, the form of Kurama was formed with a sinister smile that said that his enemies would be destroyed and tortured. The intention to kill at Naruto overflowed was so great that Aoi was trembling from such a feeling of death, and the former Konoha ninja, currently one from a megacure, swallowed dry for what was to come and only prayed that nothing would happen to him. Aoi was being intimidated, but those eyes scared him, and even worse, the figure behind the brat intimidated him. But I remember who his enemy is, and he laughs to himself and says, you're just a brat, I doubt you can do anything. It was then that Aoi threw some kunai at him, thinking that with it she would finish him off. Naruto, but he dodged it easily and responded with a jutsu and said water dragon water style. The water dragon went towards Aoi, hitting him, leaving him very hurt. Then Naruto said, lightning god blade style. So Naruto throws himself at poor Aoi, already wounded, taking his head and sealing it in a scroll to later collect his reward, since it was considerable in several villages. After Naruto has killed Aoi, the missing ninja of high class B low class A, he re-enters the bar and sees the small massacre that Pakura and Shisui and Silva made, since these murders either by burning with fire or cutting off the heads of the bandits and the genin group, so he smiles because his two partners had fun with that scum hired by Gato. Well, I think it's time to go and pay Gato a visit. It will be interesting to end his existence, right Shisui? Pakura said Naruto with a smile behind his mask. Yes Naruto, let's go quickly, I want to finish this mission, replied Shisui Uchiha with a great sigh of boredom, since his opponents were very weak, too much for his liking. He was not a battle maniac, but he liked to have good fights. He just hoped that Zabuza, the demon of the mist, would give him a good fight, although he suspected that in the best case scenario, the demon of the mist would barely be at the level of a high A rank ninja or low S rank, and that was not enough to give him a fight or his boss. Maybe he would give a fight to Pakura, more he didn't think the lost ninja of the mist would defeat her after all. Pakura is a cage level ninja who was a candidate for Yondaime Kazukiage. I agree with the idiot, I want to finish this mission as quickly as possible and go home, Bakura answered with boredom, since she wanted to fight Zabuza Momochi and see how strong the Mist Demon is, since according to what she investigated, the Mist Demon is easily at Guren's level, maybe a little superior to her friend, and that excited her a little. Naruto was going to answer until the bartender interrupted him and said thank you for saving us young people, if it weren't for you my family and I would have died or worse, my daughters would have been kidnapped by the tyrant Geto, and then God knows what he would have done to them. You have nothing to worry about, we did the right thing for now, you calm your family down, Naruto replied with a small smile behind his mask. Bartender.san, don't you know a place where you can stay overnight? Bakura asks somewhat anxiously, since she didn't want to sleep in the forest, if there was a hotel nearby where she could be more comfortable. In addition, this way they could get more information about the place where they are staying, and that would be a benefit for them to finish the mission as quickly as possible. The bartender thinks about it and nods and signals for them to follow. Well, I'll take you to the one we consider our leader since the daimyo was overthrown by Geto. He's a kind and good person. He's one of the few who fights with everything he has against Geto. You can stay with him. Maybe he can help you. The bartender answered Bakura's question. The trio of S-rank shinobi nodded and followed the bartender, since they had nothing better to do, and if they go with a village leader, it will be easier to get information from him, plus he is one of the few who fight against the foolish dwarf Geto, the three S-rank shinobi thought, since they hated that tyrant and promised each other that when they captured him, they would torture him. After 30 minutes everyone sees a house and the bartender knocks on the door of the house, and the one who opens it is a young man of about 24 years old with black hair and tall. Hello Oze, what do you want? Did something happen in town? The young man asked with some concern, since he was somewhat afraid that Geto had done something to his friends in town or worse yet, that he had kidnapped his friends' daughters. Hello Kaiza, it's good to see you. I wanted to ask you a favor. Can you accommodate these three young men? They saved my life today by killing dozens of bandits and one of the strong ninjas that Geto had, who was the one with the lightning sword. I think his name was Aoi. So I want you to accommodate them for just a couple of days, Oze said with a sigh, since he was hoping that his friend would do him that favor. Who knows, maybe these young men could finish Geto off. Aizen narrows his eyes cautiously, since he did not know the three young men who were with his friend and saved Oze and his family, he assumed they were good people, so he sighs and nodded in approval and indicates to Naruto's group to enter and take a seat. He had to talk to those three. It was clear that they were shinobis and very powerful ones if they could defeat the lightning sword ninja who, from what he investigated in the bingo books, was a Jounin level missing ninja of class B high A low, and that, according to what he could investigate, was bad. End of chapter. Chapter 5. The Freedom of the Wave Part 1. Currently Naruto and his two companions were at Kaiza's house, one of the few who opposed Geto, despite the fear that the dwarf tyrant caused thanks to the high-level ninjas under his command, one of this being Zabuza Momochi the Demon of the Mist, and a high A-rank shinobi, low S-rank, another was a masked man who appeared to be almost 12 years old, so the trio assumed that this Anbu was on par with a high B-rank shinobi or perhaps a low A-rank, or so they hoped. Others who were hired by Geto were the Demon Brothers, Shinobi Chunin rank, low B rank, and some renegades from the Rock Village, having 10 Jounin level shinobi that varied between mid B rank ninjas and low A rank, but that did not worry the trio, they knew they could deal with them all, being the trio Cage level shinobi, what worried them was how the battle could affect the village. Since they knew that dealing with so many opponents in a village of civilians would be detrimental to them, as she would have to restrain herself and take care of the civilians, so the trio would split up. Bakura would stay in the village taking care of the people. If Geto or some ninja appeared, she would incinerate them. Meanwhile Shisui deal with the ninjas and bandits who are in the daimyo's castle, and finally Naruto intersects Zabuza. The Anbu and the Demon Brothers, but for that Naruto convinced the townspeople to support Bakura. He knew that his friend could easily protect everyone, but what Naruto wanted was for the town to fight, not to back down, to be brave. So now Naruto and his group were talking to the residents of the Land of Waves. Naruto. Wave residents, I will help you be free. You can call me the Golden Fox, but you also have to fight. You have to be strong, not only for yourselves, but also for your children, for your grandchildren, wives, husbands, grandparents. You have to have the will to fight for a brighter future for everyone. For a future in which the cat no longer exists, you also have to rebel against that dwarf. Aiza. Zoro.san is right, we must be strong to have a better life, we will not let Geto dominate us again, we will be strong for ourselves and our families, to free our country from the unfortunate Geto, we must not back down. People of Wave Country. Yes, we will fight for ourselves and our families. Cat will never rule us again. Today, Cat will die and Wave Country will be free from his tyranny. Resident 1. Prepare your weapons, today we will fight. Villager 2 children and the elderly go to the shelters today we will fight both women and men today we will be free with the help of Fox-sama. Naruto. Very well people of Wave Country I will deal with the ninjas that I know are heading, they are very strong, and I know that they will not be able to face them, well my companion Crow will deal with the ninjas and bandits that are in the castle of the ancient daimyo, and my companion Leona will help them in the defenses of the village, and do not think that she is weak, since she alone could burn an entire village. The villagers were impressed and roared with approval, for with the fox's help they could be free from the tyranny of Cat and his people. 20 minutes before Naruto's speech with Gato, Zabuza and his people were talking about the people of the land of waves and what will happen to them. Zabuza. Well Cat, capturing that fisherman will cost you that boy may be the voice of the people, but you know as well as I do that the people will rise up to save him, so capturing him so you can execute him in public will cost you quite a bit. Pat. Yes, Zabuza, I hope you fulfill your mission to capture that idiot Kaiza. I will pay you whatever he asks. If I execute him in public, people's morale will drop to such an extent that it will be much easier for me to manipulate him at my whim. Kukikuku, so go to his house. It is somewhat far from the town, but I think I could easily get there. Will I go to the town? I will wait for you there to execute him. Zabuza. Okay Cat, I'll finish quickly and I'll support you, bye, see you later. It was then that Zabuza left with Haku and Ashunsen, along with the demon brothers to capture the fisherman and his family. After a few minutes of Zabuza and Haku's departure and their partners, who are the Chunin rank demon ninja brothers, were in the bingo book with a low danger rank of B. Haku asks. Haku? Zabuza-sama seriously we have to capture that fisherman and his family, from what I was able to investigate they are good people, and they are the hope of this country, because we have to cause harm to those people. Zabuza. You know very well that this is a job Hakumata is in the job of being a shinobi, and if we have to screw a village to earn money, it will be done so shut up we have to go to that family to be able to capture that fisherman, and go quickly to Gato. I have a bad feeling I feel that something bad will happen, I just hope that this feeling is nothing to worry about. Haku. I understand Zabuza-sama I hope doing this is the right thing for us you know well that it makes me sad to kill especially innocent people who do not deserve to die. The demon brothers who were with Zabuza frowned at what Haku said, but said nothing, while Zabuza denied Haku is too good in his eyes to be a ninja he knew that his tool had the potential to even surpass him with ease, even now he knew that Haku was at the level of a low jounin, and that for his age, it was surprising what stopped his tool was not killing, but Zabuza knew that his power would be on par with the elite jounin, how sad that Haku is not like he thought Zabuza. While Gato marches towards where the village was along with a huge amount of mercenaries to wait for Zabuza with the fisherman, so he could publicly execute Kaiza and thus break the hopes of the country and its people. What he did not know is that Kaiza was in the village along with Pakura as protection, since they knew that the dwarf of Gato had some ninjas apart from Zabuza contracts. With Shisui he was going at full speed towards the old castle of the daimyo of the country of waves to be able to destroy that fortress, or rather all the mercenaries that were in that place or the Uchiha would have fun with the dark rats that Gato hired to torment all the people of the country of waves. The battles I'll have with that plague will be very boring, well it doesn't matter, at least I can distract myself for a moment with those plagues, it will be interesting because it's been a while since I've had fun, Shisui thought with a small evil smile, for doing everything he had planned with those plagues that torment a civilian country. Meanwhile with Naruto the heir of the whirlpool was walking and feeling in which parts Zabuza would appear, since they intercepted him to finish him off and his followers, since because of him the waves had become a very sad and miserable country. Up you should not be too confident, you will face two low-rank B ninjas, a ninja who is easily on par with a low-level jounin, and Zabuza, a ninja who is on par with an elite jounin, on par with the son of that old monkey, and that swordsman's chakra reserves are nothing small from here I'm sorry if you fight seriously you obviously won't lose, but you know you don't have to show your Mokuton until it is time for us to make ourselves known to everyone, Kurama said and ordered seriously. Since he knew that Naruto was strong, but he did not want him to become arrogant with his strength, since if he trusts any opponent he could die despite your regeneration and his powers, since being arrogant, he could make it easier for his enemies to find a weakness in him, and Kurama did not want that to happen. Lose Kurama, if possible I would like to have them on my side, since Zabuza is a powerful shinobi, it makes me feel sorry to kill someone so promising, but what can be done is it him or is it me it is a shame to kill one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, Naruto answered with a sigh, since he did not want to kill Zabuza, because he had not done anything to him, but unfortunately that was the way the shinobi world was only the strong survive, but he would soon change that. They're already arriving, puppy, it's time for you to prepare and finish them off quickly, since we need to go to the village, Kurama ordered seriously. Okay Kurama, it's time for this to end. Zabuza is strong, but luckily he's not as strong as Bakura, and much less so with Shisui, Naruto thought internally, since if his opponent were a cage-level ninja, things would get a little more complicated, and that would be bad for him and his group. After a few minutes Zabuza appeared with his accomplices, and everyone raised an eyebrow at the sight of a small boy with a fox mask in front of them, until Zabuza opened his eyes, since he recognized him in the book bingo. The brat in front of him was the Golden Fox, an S-rank ninja easily at the high cage level, and Zabuza knew that the enemy in front of him and his group was as strong if not stronger than Yagura, and he also knew if the Golden Fox was here, then his partner the red-eyed demon was too, and that worried him quite a bit since the other was also an S-rank ninja easily at the level of medium cage or high cage, so the Mist Demon sighed with some nerves since he is facing a cage level shinobi, and that would be complicated even with Haku on his side. Well Zabuza, let's start with this dance. I've been wanting to fight one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist for a long time, we'll see how strong you are, demon of the mist, Naruto said with a smile behind his mask. The demon brothers frowned but were very nervous about facing an S-rank ninja, while Haku impassively watched Naruto behind his mask. She knew that the opponent in front of her was stronger, but she didn't care. She would protect Zabuza-sama even if it cost her life. Finally, Zabuza was sweating profusely, but he was also happy to face an opponent of the caliber of the Golden Fox, a cage-level shinobi who is said to be able to easily stand up to any of the current cage of the 5 great ninja villages. Okay, let's start. Golden Fox, does that seem fine to you, said Zabuza and made a sign, and the demon brothers and Haku surrounded Naruto, making the blonde rolled his eyes at such a plan. He had killed dozens of shinobi with ease, defeating 3 would not be so much of a problem, so he did hand positions and sent several fireballs to Haku, and the demon brothers, the ice user was able to protect herself with her Kekkei Genkai, but the demon brothers were not as lucky, resulting in ashes by Naruto's attack. The Mist Demon opened his eyes in surprise, since the attack that came out of his enemy was similar to a Kaiten Jutsu, but much more powerful if what he thinks is correct, is that the Golden Fox has the Shakutin, the burning element of the deceased Bakura of Sunagakur. Sighing, he thought that this battle would be more complicated than he thought before. Haku. Zabuza-sama, we have to fight together, separated we will have no chance against the Golden Fox who is a cage-level ninja. Zabuza frowned but nodded and in a burst of speed, appeared behind Naruto, attempting to cut his head off. Naruto easily kept pace with Zabuza, and with his Zanpakuto easily blocked Zabuza's Kubikirabacho, causing the Mist Demon and Haku to widen their eyes in disbelief at how easily the Golden Fox blocked their attack. Ice release Ice Dragon, shouted Haku, sending a large ice dragon towards Naruto and Zabuza. The Mist Demon disappeared, while Naruto sighed and said fire release Great Fireball Jutsu. Thus both the ice dragon and Naruto's fireball collided, causing a large explosion. Naruto made other hand potions and said lightning release Thousand Lightning Blade. Thus he is sending hundreds of lightning blades towards Zabuza and Haku, causing both to open their eyes in surprise, but still dodge most of the lightning blades, although some hit them, causing them to be somewhat injured by Naruto's jutsu. You are not an ordinary shinobi. I know you must not be more than 12 years old, but even so you are very powerful. Not even Yagura could corner you like that so easily, unless he used the power of his Bijuu, and that is with Haku supporting me being a Jounin level. Kunoichi, said Zabuza, panting from the blades that cut him, that have paralyzed him a little, since the rays of those blades not only had to cut but paralyze the human body. You are not an ordinary shinobi either, Zabuza, you are easily at the level of an elite Jounin, and your partner is at the low Jounin level. You are not just any shinobi, that is interesting, and regarding my age, you may be right, I am less than 12 years old, but I will not tell you how old I am. We continue the battle, Naruto replied and said with a big smile behind his mask. Zabuza and Haku frowned but were nervous, since the Golden Fox was young but very powerful. They don't want to imagine when he reaches his full potential, he would definitely be far above the cage level. Okay, let's stop the nonsense, brat. I don't care if you're an S-rank ninja. I'll fulfill my mission. So, die, water element jutsu, water clones like that. Zabuza creating 10 water clones that went against Naruto along with the original and Haku at his side. Naruto sighed, he didn't want to kill that Anbu. Her heart was so pure while Zabuza's was so dark, but deep inside him there was a light, and he knew that Anbu was Zabuza's light. Also the Anbu was obviously a little girl, maybe 11 years old. He didn't want to kill that pure soul, but he snapped out of his thoughts, since now he had a battle which he would have to end as quickly as possible. So the blonde made hand positions, the wind release. Air-piercing bullet, Pton. Renkin, thus puffing out his chest and sending a large ball of air that went at full speed towards Haku. Zabuza and his clones Haku made hand positions and said ice release ice wall, thus protecting Zabuza and her from Naruto's wind attack, although Zabuza's water clones were not so lucky and were completely destroyed. Meanwhile in Haku's ice shield her defense could barely contain Naruto's attack since the ice barrier was completely destroyed and when it fell apart you could see a panting Haku. Since she put enough chakra to defend herself from that great wind attack, Zabuza frowned, realizing that Haku was no longer in a condition to continue fighting hell. He knew she was strong, but the opponent they had in front of them was above Yagura the Yondaime Mizukage, and that was bad. He was barely a high A rank ninja, but his opponent was easily at the level of a high S rank, and he knew well that the difference between an A rank and an S rank was very considerable, but he would not give up. He had to save Haku. She was his only light, and he would not allow anything to happen to her, even though he would never say it. Zabuza-sama, run away, I will stop the golden fox for a few minutes. Go away, I cannot allow you to be killed. If one has to die, then I am the one who will die. My life belongs to you and I will make your life, said Haku with great conviction in his voice. Zabuza opened his eyes and frowned. He wouldn't run away and leave Haku alone to fight. He wasn't a coward, and he wouldn't leave the one he considered his daughter at the hands of an S-rank shinobi on par with the cages. If one had to die, it would be him. Those were the thoughts of the demon of the mist. Meanwhile Naruto opened his eyes in surprise at what Haku declared. He never thought he would find another ninja with such conviction, since he found Kimimaro. The devotion of the Anbu in front of him was comparable to Kimimaro's to him, and that was good and bad at the same time, because he knew that girl would die for Zabuza, and by the look on Zabuza's face, he knew that she wouldn't run away from the battle, which made him smile. Since Zabuza may be a very feared ninja, but at least he wasn't one who abandoned his precious people. I see that both of you are very loyal, both you Anbu.san are so loyal to Zabuza, and you are also loyal to the Anbu, right Zabuza? You have time to run away, but you don't, which means that this Anbu means a lot to you. That surprises me, since it is said that you were a heartless demon, but I see that the rumors are wrong. I have a proposal to avoid killing them. It would break my heart to kill you Anbu.san, a heart as pure as yours does not deserve to die. Declared Naruto with a smile under his mask. Zabuza frowned at what the brat said, and they agreed that Haku was a pure heart who did not deserve to die, but he was also curious as to why he wanted it so much. He knew there was no escape, so it was better to listen to the Golden Fox's deal. Meanwhile Haku was blushing under her mask from being called pure heart by the boy in front of her, a boy so strong that even her teacher couldn't defeat him. I'm listening, what deal are you proposing to me, kid? Zabuza asked with genuine curiosity. Simple, join me. I want you to help me free the village. I know the Kurigakure is marrying you for your attempted coup against the Yondaime Mizukage, so you do not have a shinobi village to support you or a strong group of shinobi to support you if the bounty hunters or the Anbu want to hunt you, so the deal is that you join my group and my village will protect you, and do not ask what village it is. I will tell you when we get to my village. You are not trustworthy yet. Besides, you know well that Geto will not pay you. You know that he is a damn traitor with the shinobi, so what do you say? Join me, said Naruto. Both Zabuza and Haku opened their eyes in surprise as the Golden Fox offered them protection from Kurigakure and the bounty hunters, which was very beneficial for them. In addition, they knew that Geto might betray them, so it would be better to accept the Golden Fox's offer so they could have a house to protect and a place to live. Haku's thoughts. Zabuza-sama accepts the Golden Fox's proposal. This is our chance to live a quieter life without so many worries. Zabuza's thoughts. If she accepted this brat's proposal, Haku will be able to live peacefully, she will have a home to live in, and she will be able to find friends that she can protect. Book the Mizukage, book everything. Haku is more important to me. I don't care about the rebellion or Kurigakure. Haku was above all. I will join the boy. Haku deserves a better life. I owe it to him. Meanwhile Naruto was having a conversation in his mind space with Kurama. Do you think Zabuza and that ninja hunter will accept the proposal you made to them? Naruto asked Kurama curiously. Most likely they will accept. You feel their emotions from both. Also having them as allies will be very good for us, especially having that ninja hunter. The potential he has is very great currently. He is easily at the low jounin level, maybe with his Kekkei Genkai, he is at the level of a medium jounin. Kurama nodded. He also saw the potential of the Anbu in front of him and knew that with proper training, he could easily reach the level of an S-rank ninja. That Anbu has as much potential as Kimimaro, Kurama thought seriously. You know that the Anbu in front of you has a potential as great as Kimimaro. It would be bad to kill him. It is better to have him as an ally, and it is also clear that he is a loyal person, Kurama said seriously. Lose Kurama, well I'm leaving, it's time to hear Zabuza's answer, Naruto replied. But Zabuza, he stopped thinking about what the Golden Fox told him, since what he proposed was very good for him and Haku, so he accepted. Zabuza, fine, I accept your proposal Golden Fox. We will join you to finish off Geto, and you will give us your protection from the Mizukage and the bounty hunters. Naruto. Perfect, then come accompany me to the village. Most likely my dear friend has already finished with Geto's annoyance, although most likely he has captured him, now more alive than dead. End of chapter. Chapter 6. The Freedom of the Wave Part 2. A few minutes before Zabuza Haku, the demon brothers face Naruto, you can see the people of the waves organizing themselves for the battle they will have with Geto and his ninjas. All these residents were being guided by Pakura of the Shakutin and Kaiza, one of Geto's greatest opponents. These two were preparing everyone, whether men or women, with spears, forks, and knives for the coming fight for the freedom of the country of the waves. Meanwhile, in another part of the country, specifically in the old castle of the daimyo, now Geto's main base. The people of Wave Country are seen getting ready for battle. Pakura of the burn element was in the lead with Kaiza, and 400 more men waiting for Geto to come until after 20 minutes, Geto is seen going with 600 thugs and mercenaries. Kaiza. Here comes the cat, everyone prepare your traps and your weapons, we may be outnumbered, but we have a real reason to fight, we fight for our families, for our freedom, we fight for the future of our children. All the villagers roared, as now was the time to rise up against Geto and the tyrant who oppressed them. The Kura, Kaiza.san, I will go to the front. I have enough destructive power to take on half of those mercenaries, but I will have to hold back a bit so that you don't get caught in the crossfire. Well, you take half, I will take the other half. I will do my best to finish them off quickly. Kaiza.san, my two companions should already be finishing up their respective business. Kaiza, are you sure you can fight them all? I know you're a capable ninja, but fighting them all is crazy. The Kura, you don't have to worry, I promise that I will protect you. Now it's time to prepare for battle. Kaiza nodded and led the villagers to attack the cat thugs, while Pakura sighed and went at an enormous speed towards the mercenaries. She was so fast that with her kunai without anyone noticing she had already killed 4 thugs/mercenaries as if they were nothing. The cage-level Kunoichi attacked dozens and dozens of mercenaries as if they were simple mosquitoes. The Kura made hand positions and said fire element heat tide, thus sending a small torrent of fire towards the mercenaries who turned to ashes as if they were just simple cockroaches. Mercenary 1. Who is she? She's destroying us like we're nothing. This shows us what shinobi are like in the world. Mercenary 2. She is very dangerous, we have to attack them in groups to have any chance, we can't take on that woman alone, she is a ninja for a reason, those are the most dangerous, we have a chance if we go in large groups. After some mercenaries said that, more than 40 of them nodded and with an evil smile went against Pakura, who had a small frown that then turned into a small smile and said element burn massacre of terror, after Pakura said that several balls of heat surrounded her and went against the mercenaries, killing them on contact. Meanwhile Shisui was killing dozens and dozens of mercenaries who guarded the old castle of the daimyo. The Uchiha was not conceited like most of his clan, but he had picked up some sadistic tendencies from Lady Kushina, so he was killing the mercenaries in the worst way, either by taking out their eyes with his sword, cutting off their heads or splitting them in two. This he did, since these garbage raped devil women. He found one raping a corpse that had not been dead for more than 2 hours, so he would have no compassion for any of them, since in his eyes they were worse than garbage. Mercenaries, please don't kill us, please, we beg you, we were only here on Geto's orders, we didn't want to kill anyone in this town, it was just a job, and we were only following the orders of our contractor. Shisui, you will all die, there will be no mercy, you are trash who do not deserve to live in the world that the boss is building, so die all Amaterasu. After Shisui said that, a large amount of black fire burned dozens and dozens of mercenaries, making them roar in pain and killing them little by little, all of them dying in the worst way. Well, I think that would be all, I'm going to support the village, maybe I'll have more fun there, I wonder if Naruto has already finished off Zabuza and his people, I hope he had fun in his fight, Shisui said to himself, and then in a burst of speed, he left the daimyo's castle and went towards the village to fight, or rather to have fun. Meanwhile Naruto was going with Zabuza and Haku to the village where Pakura of the burning element and Kaiza were, since the demon of the mist had told him what Geto was planning to do in the village, Naruto had nodded to him what Zabuza did, but he didn't take it so seriously, since he knew that Pakura would be enough to wipe out entire armies, and only a cage-level ninja would be able to stop or kill her. You trust too much in the person who is taking care of the Wave village, right? Zabuza asked seriously and curiously, since if the boy trusted the person he was protecting, he assumed he was strong, maybe an A-rank ninja. If from what he saw of the boy it was true, the brat was a cage level, a full-fledged S-rank ninja. Obviously I trust my two companions, both the one who is assaulting the daimyo's castle, and the one who is taking care of the village along with Kaiza, after all they are both high-level S-rank shinobi, Naruto answered with a big smile under his mask. Haku and Zabuza opened their eyes in surprise. The boy came to this place with 2 other S-rank shinobi, and both former Kurigakure ninjas realized one thing, and that is that if they continued fighting against the brat who spared their lives, they would have died, especially because of the 2 cage-level shinobi who accompanied them. But Pakura and Kaiza. The cage-level Kunoichi was killing all the mercenaries that approached her, either by heating them up or breaking their necks with her strong taijutsu, and despite the fact that Pakura was outnumbered, she overcame the dozens and dozens of mercenaries that were throwing themselves at her. And in Kaisa's case, he continued killing everyone he could, and despite not being a ninja, he was a man with training and good physical condition, which allowed him to move more easily and kill several mercenaries. He guided several of the villagers to finish off all the mercenaries. With Cat. The tyrant was nervous as he saw how his mercenaries were dying like flies, and that upset him. He only hoped that Zabuza would return as quickly as possible, since from what he saw, if he did not return, all his mercenaries would be liquidated by the crazy ninja who was burning everyone she touched, and the leader of the village whom she was going to execute to make an example so that no one would rebel against him. But now he realized that it was a mistake to come to the village, especially because of that woman who would not stop killing his mercenaries. After 20 minutes, all the mercenaries were burned to death, cut or stabbed by the townspeople, although it could also be seen that some townspeople had died, not so many, since Bakura had taken care of most of the mercenaries who went to the town on Gato's orders. Your end has come, Cat, now the land of waves will rest from your tyranny, today you will die by order of the people, Kaisa said with a frown at the tyrant, but with happiness at the same time, because in the end, Cat will die for the crimes he committed against his country. Please don't kill me, I can give you all the money you want, women, drugs, but don't kill me, I want to live, shouted Gato, who was being dragged by several townspeople who were going to crucify him in the middle of town, as revenge for all the chaos he caused to the land of waves and its people. I see that they took revenge against Gato very seriously, Pakura mentioned, somewhat impressed by what the inhabitants of the land of waves were going to do to the dwarf. He deserves to die in the worst way for everything he did to the country and its people, and I thank you for all the support that you and your friends have given us. I doubt very much that the town would have come out unscathed if only we had rebelled, Kaisa said humbly, since he knew that Gato had ninjas, and they were nothing compared to the ninjas that were with the tyrant who fortunately did not appear in the town. You have nothing to worry about, we did the right thing, in fact, thanks to you the people did not die, nor did they lose their will, Pakura replied with a smile under her mask, since she had liked helping these people, she might be a murderer, but she did not like killing innocent people, but in her eyes no mercenary, much less Gato, was innocent, so killing them would do nothing to her conscience. Thank you, the only thing I regret is the deaths of my people, even though not many died, there were some casualties in my country, but I know that this is the cost of freedom and of finally ending the idiot Cat, Kaisa said with a sigh of sadness when mentioning all the deaths that occurred in this conflict. Don't be sad about the dead, but rather feel happy that your people were willing to sacrifice themselves for their freedom, be happy because the people of this country were willing to fight against Gato and his people, Pakura replied with a stern voice. Kaisa nodded with a sigh and went into the village. He wanted and needed to finish off Gato for those who died in this revolt and for all those who died throughout the time in which Gato was kidnapping his people. Well, it seems you arrived, red-eyed idiot, said Pakura with a sigh of tiredness, since she didn't just like spending so much time with the Uchiha, it's that this Uchiha wasn't like any other Uchiha, he wasn't serious at all, he wasn't cold, but rather he looked like a little boy, and she doubted she could put up with the stupidities that Shisui does, and the only one who could control his stupidity was Lady Kushina and Naruto, and she just hoped that Naruto arrived quickly. Since if he didn't he would burn the Uchiha, it would drive her crazy. Hey Flamitas-chan, you don't have to get angry or that I was your enemy, complained Shisui, although under his mask he had a big smile, since he loved to drive people crazy, it was funny he didn't understand how his clan was so serious and boring. Bakura rolled her eyes at the nickname and sighed in exasperation at what Shisui said. She just hoped Naruto would come back soon to finish the mission and go to Yuzu. She just hoped Naruto's plan would start soon, since she wanted to deal with the trash Kazukiage and Suna and the stupid council who were just a gang of idiots looking for their own benefit and not that of the village. Good, and how did it go at the daimyo's castle? Did you finish off everyone guarding that place? Bakura asked curiously. The truth is it was very simple, there were like 100 mercenaries, but maximum, and they had the level of a simple low-level genin, and some maybe medium but no more, they were all weak, it was easy to kill them, I didn't even have to use destructive jutsus to finish you off, Shisui responded happily, since he was happy to kill that trash. Bakura sweated a drop at the happy way Shisui said he killed everyone and sighed, since it seems Lady Kushina has given her a bit of her sadistic side and shook her head, remembering the only woman she fears hell she was the terror of Kumagakure and Iwagakure, for a reason she was able to defeat the Jinchuriki of the Eight Tails in the previous war and was able to almost kill the Sandaime Tsuchikage, for a reason that old man can't walk properly anymore since Kushina broke the poor Kage's back. But she came out of her thoughts and became serious, the same with Shisui, since both felt Naruto, but with him there were two other presences, one at the Jounin level and the other at the elite Jounin level, so they prepared just in case, although they knew that Naruto could fight against both of them at the same time, it was better not to risk it, since pride and arrogance can sometimes kill one. I see you guys are done with your assignments, Naruto asked with a smile under his mask. Both Bakura and Shisui nodded, but then set their eyes on Haku and Zabuza, analyzing if they could be a threat to anyone in the village or to Naruto, since they did not trust the Kurigakure ninjas, but they would give them the benefit of the doubt, since Naruto had brought them for a reason, they both assumed cage-level shinobi. Meanwhile Zabuza and Haku were sweating profusely, since the red-eyed demon looked at them penetratingly, and that made them uncomfortable, and it didn't help that the woman next to him saw them the same, and from what Zabuza bucking noticed that woman is easily an S-rank kunoichi, so he gave a sigh of tiredness, since it would be problematic, but he was also curious to know who that woman was, there were very few women who were at the level of a kage. This is the leader of the Kurigakure rebels mate Terumi, the Sannin of the Slugs Tsunade Senju, the counselor of the Sanchio who despite her old age was still very recognized, and finally the bloody habanero Uzumaki Kushina, the most dangerous woman on the elemental continent, a woman who could wipe out entire armies and face a kage by herself, but the demon of the mist came out of his thoughts when he heard a cheerful voice very cheerful for his liking speak. I will tell you this once and only once Abusa.sa and I hope you do not betray the trust Naruto gave you by letting you live and bringing you here, because if you do there will be one less swordsman of the mist in the world, said Shisui taking out his thirst for blood. Zabuza gulped. Haku was sweating profusely since the bloodlust that the boy in front of them was spewing was immense. Zabuza even thought that the bloodlust that came from the idiot who threatened him far exceeded Yugura's and that he was a Jinchuriki. Shisui, calm down, Zabuza will not betray us, he may be anything, but he is a swordsman of his word, and if he breaks his word he will regret it. Naruto finished with his chakra coming out suddenly cracking the entire floor and making Haku kneel, making Zabuza back up, making Bakura sweat a lot, and making Shisui laugh softly. End of chapter. Chapter 7. Alliances. It's been a little over 2 years since Zabuza along with Haku joined the Whirlpool village and this time interesting things happened throughout the elemental continent. First is that the country of the waves grew economically having treaties with the country of the Whirlpool, the country of the spring that was free, thanks to Yuzu, and the village of the hot springs where all these villages and countries grew economically and militarily. Since first the country of the spring before the country of the snow now consisted of a ninja village called Yukigakure, although small it has considerable power having as Yukikage Fubuki Kakyoku a Kunoichi who is at the level of high rank A ninjas, thanks to strong training that I had in these years to be able to be worthy of the title of Kage. On the other hand, the waves had a great change, since now they had a considerable army of samurai led by Kaiza, who is currently at the level of low-ranking ninjas. This was thanks to the fact that Kaiza was able to make a deal with Mifune, the leader of the samurai of the country of iron, where Mifune trained Kaiza and several inhabitants of the country of the waves, Kaiza being the strongest disciple that Mifune had in recent times. Currently Naruto along with Kimameru Kagaya, a ninja who is easily on par with a high A rank bordering on S rank, and the right hand of the little Uzumaki, and the most loyal person, along with Shisui Uchiha, a double SS rank ninja, were meeting with Mifune of the samurai, for a commercial and military alliance with the head of the samurai, since the Uzumaki knew that Mifune is strong enough to be able to be at the level of S rank ninjas. And he wanted an alliance with the samurai because he knew that they are of their word, so he would not distrust them. I suppose you are the representative of the country of whirlpools, asked Mifune curiously, since in front of him was a boy of 11 or 12 years old he would not judge him, it was noticeable that the boy was strong, and his presence was easily equal to that of the cages, if not superior, something that impressed him and intrigued him, he wondered how strong the little Uzumaki was. Well, let me introduce myself, Lord Mifune. I am the representative of the country of whirlpools, as well as the country of spring, the country of hot springs, and the country of waves. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. It is a pleasure to meet the great leader of the samurai. Naruto introduced himself with a small smile. Mifune nodded, somewhat impressed by the boy in front of him, since from what he now understands, he is the representative of several countries, which can be beneficial, since if he allies with the boy, it will be easy to obtain alliances. And if I accept this alliance, what benefits will my country have? Mifune asked, somewhat curious about the child's proposal. This alliance will be both military and commercial. If a country attacks you we will support you, and if they attack us, you support us. In the commercial case the country of waves will provide you with food, while you will provide it with swords and armor, a commercial exchange the same with the rest of the countries with which they will be part of the alliance, Naruto answered. Mifune opened his eyes in surprise. This deal is good for him and his country. They will have a good amount of food and also greater technology. Fine, I will accept this alliance. I hope you fulfill everything indicated and I will do the same. This will remain between both of us. It is better that no one knows about this alliance for the moment, said Mifune. Now he surely knows that the Uzumakis always keep their word, so he wasn't so worried, but it is still better to be safe than sorry. You never know if they will betray you. You have nothing to worry about, Mifune. The Uzumaki always keep their promises, and just in case we will sign a military and commercial agreement so that you are more secure in this treaty, Naruto answered with a small smile. Since the leader of the samurai accepted the alliance, he knew that Mifune is a man of his word, so he knows that he will not reveal anything about the agreement, and as the samurai said, it is better that the alliance is not made public for the moment. Since the villages will be in an uproar. Mifune nodded, he knew that the Uzumaki are people who keep their word, so he relaxed and signed the agreement since it would be very beneficial to his nation. Well, young Uzumaki, I will sign the agreement. I also want you to send my regards to Kaiser. He was a good disciple. I suppose that if you are the representative of the country of waves, you must know him, since he is the leader of the country of waves. A certain young Uzumaki, said Mifune, somewhat happy to mention Kaiser. The young man was a dedicated disciple and very skilled in learning the art of the sword. I'll pass your message on to Mifune Dono, my friend Kaiser will be happy to receive your message, Naruto replied with a smile. Mifune nodded with a small smile, already liking the young Uzumaki. Thank you, young Uzumaki, and let's hope for a better future with this treaty, said Mifune. You're right, Mifune. Dono, this treaty will give us a better future, said Naruto, taking out some contract papers and passing them to Mifune. Mifune nodded and signed the agreement. This will be a new era for his nation, as he will have allies that are economically powerful, and some of them are militarily powerful, so he knew this alliance will put his country in a new light. Perfect, since everything is done I will leave Mifune Dono, said Naruto, happy that the agreement had been accepted by Mifune. The samurai leader nodded in understanding, although he was impressed by the Uzumaki boy, as he is not only powerful, but also a good negotiator. Meanwhile, Naruto, Kimimaro and Shisui were retreating after the treaty with the country of iron was signed. This agreement is better kept hidden, we don't want the rest of the villages to know that Yuzu is back in the game, said Naruto. Kimimaro and Shisui nodded in understanding. They knew that Orochimaru, Kumo, Iwa and Konoha would go crazy if they found out that the whirlpool country was floating, and that would be detrimental, so for the moment they have to stay hidden. We must be careful, the shinobi villages already know that a new village has surfaced, but they don't know that it is Yuzu, so they are not worried, but soon they will know that Yuzu has surfaced, and I know that Kumo, Iwa and Konoha will want to destroy us, Shisui said with a frown. He loved Konoha, but if he has to destroy it to protect Naruto and Yuzu, he will do it. He will not let his new home burn down because of those people. And not only that, Naruto-sama, if Orochimaru finds out that there are Uzumaki alive, he will want them for his experiments, mentioned Kimimaro with poison. When mentioning Orochimaru, he hated his former master. That trash only used him as if he were an object, and even worse, he used his friends. He would become strong to eliminate that threat from his lord Naruto. I understand what you both say, but we can get rid of Orochimaru in the invasion that the Sannin will carry out on Konoha together with Suna. Maybe we can even get rid of the Hokage and the Kazekage if we are lucky, said Naruto with a fox smile. Shisui and Kimimaro opened their eyes in surprise. They knew that Naruto could deal with 2S rank or cage level ninjas, but for him to want to deal with and get rid of Orochimaru, the Kazekage Raza, and the Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi was too much. None of those three shinobi were normal ninjas for a reason, two of them are cages, and another is a Sannin. In the Chunin exams you will reveal yourself, right? Naruto asked Shisui seriously, but at the same time he was worried, because if Naruto revealed himself he will be hunted by Konoha. He trusts in Naruto's power, but he still worries about his well-being. After all, he sees him as his little brother. If the crazy Uzumaki goes to Konoha, he promised to accompany him, and if he has to fight with Hiruzen, he will do it with all his power. Exactly, my special clone will be replaced by me in the Chunin exams, where I will reveal myself against Konoha, and if possible, I will try to capture the Ichibi Jinchuriki in the invasion that will take Konoha. I also know that the Jinchuriki Gaara of the Sand is not loyal to his village because of the treatment he received as a child, so it will be easy to convince him to join us, Naruto answered with a small smile, since he would convince Gaara to join his village, and if not, he would kidnap him. Well, we still have time to plan, so we will take everything calmly, since we can't make any mistakes, and I don't want anything to happen. You know that we won't be dealing with simple jounin, but with elite ninjas and cage level ninjas, as well as Jinchurikis, said Shisui with a sigh, since that invasion will be their best chance to capture the Ichibi, but it will also be very dangerous. Naruto and Kimimaro nodded and left with Shisui to Yuzu. It's time to inform the Uzukage about the treaty with Mifune. Meanwhile, the land of whirlpools was holding a meeting between Uzukage Kenshin Uzumaki and three of the strongest kunoichi of the elemental nations. These are Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Izumi and Pakura of the burning element. Well brother, what do you need? asked Kushina curiously, since it is rare for her brother to call them all at once unless something important happens, she just hopes that nothing has happened to her baby. Tenshin sighed, his sister didn't respect him, but he better not scold her, he didn't want to be on the bad side of his terrifying sister. Tenshin, I want you to capture the seven-tailed Jinchuriki as a girl named Fu. From what I was able to investigate, she is a year older than Naruto, so she must be approximately 12 years old. She is brown-skinned for the outskirts of Tokigakure under guard, so I want you to bring the girl if necessary, knock out Fu. Do it, if you have to kill shinobi of Tokigakure do it, I know that they mistreat their Jinchuriki, and if we have the seven-tailed on our side, it will be a blow to Akatsuki. Since they will not know that we have the 2 9 and 7 tails. Finished speaking the Uzukage. I understand my Sachi will be happy to have a new Jinchuriki partner. We will rescue her, and you do not have to worry. Tokigakure does not have strong shinobi, and I am a double SS rank Kunoichi. Pakura is an S rank ninja, and Izumi is a high level A rank bordering on S rank, so we can even deal with 1 or 2 cages at a time, the 3 of us together, said Kushina with a smile. Tenshin Bufo, his sister, is very confident thanks to being the strongest woman in Yuzu, although he was right, Tokigakure is not strong, it is a village with mid-level ninjas, and he knew well that his sister with those 2 women will be enough to even fight against cages, so he was not worried. Well, you know the mission. I need you to return as soon as possible and to wear Anbu suits. We don't want Sunagakure or Konoha to look for you. Not for the moment, we have to go unnoticed, ordered the Uzukage. The women nodded in understanding and left to prepare for their mission. It was time to recover the 7 tails and give the Jinchuriki a better life. Tenshin's thoughts. I know that the villages know that 2 new villages have come out, but they still do not know the names and who leads them. I know that Orochimaru of the Sannin leads the village of Sound, maybe the Sage of the Toads already knows it, but they definitely do not know that the Uzumaki are back, and that is good, since I need to put Kurigakure and the entire country of water on Yuzu's side. If I support the rebellion and with Zabuza's help, Kurigakure may ally with us. I know that Kumo, Iwa and Konoha are going to want to destroy us. Suna may want to destroy us for Pakura, since she is one of their strongest shinobi or was. It is a shame and a benefit for us to have her on Yuzu's side. So many variables, it will be better to discuss it with Naruto. The boy is better for the negotiations. I think he will send him to support the rebellion. After all, he is going to be the next Uzukage or rather emperor, if our plans go as predicted. End of chapter. Chapter 8. Meetings and time passes. It's been a couple of years since Naruto was able to make the country of waves and the country of iron join his side. In this time, interesting things happened. The first was that the new country of whirlpools was able to capture or rather give a better life to Fu, the Jinchuriki of the 7 tails, being currently one of the strongest Kunoichis of Yuzu, currently classified as a ninja rank A without the power of her Bijuu, and with the power of her Bijuu, easily reached the mid-level S rank. The second thing that happened was that Naruto was able to make an alliance with the country of demons after destroying the demon that terrorized the country, where the Uzumaki was able to absorb some of the power and knowledge of the demon, providing Naruto with the power to have an immense amount of knowledge in Fuinjutsu and in a very peculiar element, which is the darkness element. Currently a plan was being carried out by Naruto and the Uzumaki to be able to weaken the Sound, Konoha and Suna. After all, those villages are enemies, and if they could have the head of the traitor Sannin Orochimaru, much better in the eyes of all. After all, Tei Uzumaki had a pending revenge against the Sannin of the Snakes, but the Uzumaki knew that she is not yet strong enough to defeat the snake, but she could deal with his right hand. Well Naruto, I guess it's time for you to rebel against Konoha, asked the Uzukage seriously, but he also had a small, since Kenshin, the current Uzukage, wanted to see the face of Hiruzen and Danzo when they find out that Naruto rebels against them and incidentally captures the one-tailed Jinchuriki. He would give everything to see the face of that trash, and he would soon finish off both old men. After all, now they are weaker than they were in their prime. Yes, and of course Hinata, Anko and Yakumo will also reveal themselves. It's time to teach the Hyuga clan a lesson. My dear Hinata convinced several members of the secondary branch clan and 1 or 2 from the main branch to join us, and you don't have to worry about them saying anything. Hinata placed a seal on them so that none of them will talk about what we are going to do in the Suna-Odo invasion against Konoha. Perfect, I guess you need some support, so Shisui, Kushina and Yujido will infiltrate Konoha and damage as much as possible to all of Konoha, while Haku and Gurin will infiltrate the Hokage Tower and steal the Scroll of Seals, as well as jutsus from the various ninja clans. This will make the clans and counselors panic when they are robbed and invaded by their allies, said Kenshin with a smile. Perfect, but you know very well that when I flee from Konoha, the rest of the shinobi powers will look for me and will even send elite jounin. I think we can take advantage of the villages doing that and more easily finish off their scouts and combat ninjas, so we can gradually weaken our enemies, said Naruto with a cruel smile. And what are we going to do with the 3, 4, 5, 6 and 8-tailed Jignurukas, asked Kenshin, curious to know his nephew's plans. Simple, we will try to recruit them, but I know that not everyone will accept. In addition, there is the threat of Akatsuki that in itself is dangerous, with Uchiha Itachi, Tobi and Kisame among the members being each a highest rank threat that could deal with the cages on equal footing, and I even think that Tobi and Itachi could defeat any of the 5 current cages. Heshin frowned, but nodded. He knew how dangerous the Akatsuki were and knew well that he himself could not defeat more than 2 or maybe 3 members of that organization. He knew that he was strong and could deal with 2 cages at once, but he was not an idiot to face 10 or 9 cage level shinobi. Meanwhile in the Leaf Village a meeting called by the Sandom Hokage was taking place. Civilian Counselor 1. Hokage-sama, why did you call this meeting? What happened? Asked a counselor. Hokage. Well, I summoned her, since Jiraiya, my student, has something important to tell us, so please wait a moment for Jiraiya to arrive. Peharu. It's about the Kyuubi Jinchuriki or about the Uchiha. What exactly happened here is we know well that the Uchiha has the mark of the Sannin and that the Jinchuriki is in a weakened state, but both passed to the next round of the Chunin exams, that, although I do not like the Jinchuriki, I know well that we need to show strength to the other villages. Civilian Counselor 1. It doesn't matter, that demon, he should be killed since several citizens of Konoha have died because of him. Civilian Counselor 2. Exactly, without him we are all happier. They should kill him. After all, he is anything but human, and since he is not human, we should kill him and destroy him. Hiruzen was already fed up with the stupidity of the civilians. He doesn't like Naruto, but he knew that the Uzumaki is necessary for Konoha to be strong. After all, Naruto is the possessor of Kyuubi. Although I don't like the Jinchuriki either, he needs to be in Konoha. After all, he is the strongest weapon because he has the Kyuubi in him, Homura said coldly. Danzo. You are idiots, bunch of imbeciles. By losing the Jinchuriki we lose a high-powered weapon. What do you think would happen if a village like Kumo or Iwa that hates us didn't try to attack with its 2 Jinchurikis? Who would stop it? Well, the answer is not only a Seal Master or 2S rank shinobi or another Jinchuriki could stop a Jinchuriki. Do you understand me, stupid civilians? If you don't know anything about the shinobi world, then keep quiet. Peharu. Danzo is right, because they believe that all the great elemental nations have 1 or 2 Jinchurikis, obviously to maintain the balance of power. After all, those beasts are the heavyweights of the villages, being weapons of mass destruction. Counselor Mabuki. It doesn't matter, Uchiha-sama could take on any demon if they attack us. After all, Uchiha-sama has the Sharingan on his side. The clan leaders and even the civilian counselors snorted, knowing that although the Sharingan is valuable, the current wielder Uchiha Sasuke is not as strong as his older brother Uchiha Itachi. The younger Uchiha was barely at the level of a mid to low level Chunin, while Itachi was easily at the level of a kage. After all, he is an S-rank criminal. The discussion that the civilians and the elder counselors, as well as the Shinobi Council, were having was escalating until Jiraiya appeared. Jiraiya. Sensei, I have something important to say. Apparently, according to my informants, it is related to my former teammate Orochimaru of the Sannin. Hiruzen. Speak quickly, everything related to Orochimaru is bad for Konoha, so Jiraiya, tell me what information you have. Orochimaru attacks Konoha in the finals of the Chunin exams. We must prepare for an invasion, since knowing Orochimaru it is most likely that he has a plan to attack us. This made everyone in the meeting open their eyes in shock and disbelief. They were surprised that the Snake Sannin had the balls to attack Konoha. Meanwhile in Iwagakure things were going at a similar yet different pace than in Konoha, as the country of rock was planning an attack against the strongest village. Inoki. Well Kitsuchi, the plan is for one of your team to make it to the finals, so I can go without raising suspicions. After all, it is my chance to finish off the Leaf Village with my own hands, and with the help of the snake and the full Kazuki-age, I will be able to do it. After all, Konoha no longer has the yellow flash, and they barely have any high-level shinobis. Kitsuchi. Are you sure of what we're going to do? Because if the plan doesn't work as we want, we'll be significantly harmed. Inoki. Of course, with the help of Odo and Suna, Konoha will fall into my hands, and I will finally get my revenge against the fools of the Leaf. I'm not sure this will work, but you're my kage, and I'll respect your decision, so you have my full support, Kitsuchi said seriously, although inside something told him that things wouldn't end the way his kage wanted, and he felt that this invasion would bite them in the ass, and he had a feeling that Konoha would rise up. He just hopes that doesn't happen. You don't have to worry about the invasion. I know it will turn out the way we want. After all, we have on our side 1 tail, 5 tails and 4 tails, each of them being powerful in their own right, so you don't have to distrust this invasion, Inoki said seriously, but with a smile he was confident, since he knew that with the power he has with his alliance, he will finally bring down the Leaf Village and its monkey for cage. And Suna things were similar. They were also planning how to destroy the Leaf Village. The Kazuki-age wanted revenge against the Leaf for practically taking away several missions from his village. Kazuki-age. Well, Baki, at least one of my children has to pass, so that Orochimaru disguised as me can enter the exams without problems. Baki. High Kazuki-age. Sama has nothing to worry about, his children are strong, especially Gaara, he is at the level of an elite jounin, if not superior, so I assure him that he will pass the chunin exams with ease, but in Baki's thoughts, he sensed that something bad would happen, and he sensed that things did not go as his cage wanted. Inoto Orochimaru was very happy, since the destruction of Konoha was imminent. Very soon the Snake Sannin would have his revenge against the monkey, he would kill him, while Inoki and Raza destroyed Konoha. Orochimaru. Kukuku, it seems that everything is going according to plan, right Kabuto.kun, the plans seem to be going according to what we coordinated. Kabuto. So it seems, and with the help of Iwa and Suna Konoha will fall. I don't think they can against all the power of their cages and their Jinchuricus. In addition, Naruto.kun may have the Kyuubi, but he is still too weak to compare with Gaara, Roshi or Han. Orochimaru. Besides that, with these three Edo Tensei, I'm sure that sensei will fall after all, no village could against these three powerful shinobis who are legend in their prime. Kukukuku, now I will have my revenge against the Leaf Village. End of chapter. Chapter 9. Menma Yuzumaki. Currently Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto was in his room in Konoha staring at his blood clone. He wanted to know everything that happened while he was not in Konoha from his blood clone. He was interested in everything his clone did. It would be very interesting to see Konoha's stupidities. It's time for you to dissipate, you have done your job very well in pretending to be a fool in the village, I suppose that the high command, the shinobi and villagers of Konoha, do not see you as a threat, I am correct, now they just see you as a silly and easy to manipulate child, Naruto said seriously, since he hoped that his blood clone had done his job well after all for that mission, he believed it. I guess this is the end for me after all, I'm just a blood clone, nothing more and nothing less, and you're right, nobody in Konoha suspects me, I guess you got mother back, and you've become much more powerful from what I see, you fully awakened the power of the Uzumaki clan, since now your hair is as red as blood, equal to any Uzumaki, said the blood clone, simply knowing that his time and his mission were over, and he was somewhat happy that his creator had fully awakened the power of the Uzumaki clan. After all, the Uzumaki clan is the strongest in the shinobi world, even surpassing the Uchiha and Senju, thanks to their adamantine chains, Kagura's eye, the adamantine chains and the powerful chakra. You are correct, I awakened the power of the Uzumaki clan to 100%, but from what I see, you have gained a consciousness of your own, thanks to the Kurama chakra that I implanted in you. I suppose I am correct, right? Naruto asked with some curiosity, since his clone did not behave as it should, it is clear that he is loyal, but at the same time he is sad to disappear, as if he wanted to have his own body. You are correct, creator, the power of Kurama, along with your powerful chakra, and the modified blood clone jutsu, along with some of Kurama's knowledge and yours, as well as what I have seen, have made it create a consciousness little by little, in addition to having a soul created, although you never realized that I think, and now Kurama's chakra and yours have merged, empowering each other, as well as a consciousness came out. But I know that I cannot disobey your orders, so as my mission is over and now I will die, the blood clone said sadly, knowing well that his time is up. I see in terms of combat power what level you have, my blood clone, although a clone I think is not the correct term that can be described, I think I would describe you as a new and different person at the same time, said Naruto, sighing. He did not think that Kurama's chakra and his chakra caused this inconvenience, now he did not want to destroy his blood clone, that from what he saw is different from his own personality in his eyes, it is very interesting what happened. My combat power must be one of the strongest in Konoha. I think I'm only below Hiruzen Sarutobi, Jiraiya of the Sannin and Guy the Green Beast with 7 of his 8 gates. My combat power is on par with Kakashi, although I don't know if I would defeat him, after all he has more experience and a greater variety of jutsus, said the blood clone seriously, the calculation of his power level, and I think he has a great possibility of defeating Kakashi, but Jiraiya the sage of the toads. Hiruzen Sarutobi and Guy the master of Taijutsu with his 7 gates are already in the cage part of medium and high level, he does not have enough power to defeat them. I see that your combat power is far above what I thought and may continue to grow since his chakra is increasing, am I correct? Naruto asked seriously, did he not think that a simple mistake could cause this? That may be very beneficial in the future, since he will have another cage level power if he can make his blood clone have a body. Kurama, who heard his friend's thoughts, sighed and spoke. After all, he was very interested in this blood clone. He never believed that it would create a consciousness, which was interesting in his eyes. He wondered how far the blood clone could go if they had their own body where they could take advantage of all their capabilities. Naruto, I think there's a way we can make your blood clone have a quiet life with your own body. After all, you have the Rinnegan, the same power that the sage of the 6 Cumin had, and I know that you even have greater potential than the sage himself, and from what we saw it seems we have inadvertently created an artificial soul with your powerful chakra, my chakra and your blood. You recently awakened a variant of the Rinnegan. There is a jutsu that is the creation of all things we can so thanks to. This jutsu we can create a body, and we could make it stronger. After all, this clone of yours already has a combat power comparable to that of Kakashi Haddock, an elite jounin entering the cage rank, although when creating all the things that I will teach you, it will cost you a lot of chakra, and you will be very tired, since it will be the first time that you use it. I recommend that when creating the body, not only use your blood and chakra, but we can also use other DNA being able to strengthen your blood clone more, said Kurama with a smile. This problem may turn out to be more benefits, since they would have another cage level power, and they would need more and more cage level powers. After all, a war against Yuzu will soon come, and he would do everything possible so that Naruto and his people increase their military power and can win this war. Naruto opened his eyes and smiled, since the Rinnegan will be very useful to them now. He could make his clone have a normal life, and he would have a 100% loyal ally, in addition, another cage level combat power, and hopefully a super cage level that could even match ninjas like Tobirama Senju, the third Raikage who equaled the Hachibi, or his father Minato Namikaze, who could fight against the fourth Raikage and the eight-tailed Jinchuriki. Do you want to live a normal life, my blood clone? Naruto asked seriously. He wanted to know his blood clone's opinion. After all, he's the one who decides whether to continue serving. He didn't want to force him. The blood clone opened his eyes. He didn't understand what his boss had in mind, but if he wanted to live, he didn't care about anything. He just wanted to continue living and experience more things. It's not that he fears death, it's just that life is interesting in his eyes, and now that he no longer has his mission, his only purpose is to serve his creator and protect him. What's on your mind, boss? The blood clone asked curiously. He wanted to know what his creator had in mind. After all, it seemed he could give him the option to live, and if his boss did that, his purpose would be to protect him. Simple. I will create a body for you. You will no longer be a blood clone. You will have your own body where you can increase your power, but it will take a while, so let's go to Yuzu. I will leave a shadow clone in this place, said Naruto, making a shadow clone. He knew that if he didn't make the shadow clone, Konoha would suspect, and it would be detrimental to the future. Thank you, boss, for this opportunity. I promise you that I will be 100% loyal to you. It will be your sword to protect you, replied the blood clone, sighing. Since he will have a body, he was happy. Maybe now he will be able to learn more about life and serve his master. Take the form of my blood clone. You have enough chakra to withstand fights, even with Chunin class ninjas and low-level jounin, Naruto ordered seriously. He did not want anything bad to happen and for them to suspect his shadow clone. Okay, blood clone, let's go. We have to go get some things at the Konoha cemetery and then go to Yuzu, said Naruto to grab his blood clone and go to the tomb of the Hokages and the elite ninjas of Konoha. Boss, what are we doing in the tomb of the Hokages and the elite ninjas? Asked the blood clone with curiosity. Maybe he has an above average IQ, although he played dumb on the orders of his boss, but he didn't understand why they were in the tomb of the cages. The only thing that occurred to him was the forbidden jutsu Ito Tensei. Simple. We will extract a little of the cells of Hashirama, the first Hokage and the strongest Hokage, in addition to extracting the power of Uchiha Fugaku, head of the Uchiha clan, and Uzumaki Mido, the strongest woman of the time of clan war, with their cells. In addition to Kurama's chakra and my own chakra, I will create a body for you with the help of my Rinnegan, a body that will be so strong that you will even be able to rival or defeat any of the 5 cages, informed Naruto. He was curious as to how this experiment would turn out. The blood clone opened his eyes in shock and disbelief. He just thought his boss would build a simple body, but he didn't think it would be with the cells of 2 legendary shinobi and a cage-level ninja like Fugaku. Although a chill ran through him, he just hoped the Uchiha didn't rub off on him. 10 minutes later, Naruto had already collected the cells of Mido Yuzumaki, Fugaku Uchiha and Hashirama Senju, in addition to sealing the bodies of Uzumaki Mido and Namikaze Minato, in case he wants to use Ito Tensei on them, and he will not allow it, since they are his family, and he would not allow them to offend his family, and whoever did will pay dearly with his life. We're leaving, get ready, said Naruto, sighing, grabbing his blood clone and disappearing in a red flash towards the land of whirlpools. It's time to prepare everything for his blood clone and have another cage-level power. While Yuzu Kushina and Kenshin Uzumaki were talking until suddenly Naruto Uzumaki appeared with a very similar boy, only blonde and thinner, making both Kenshin and Kushina raise an eyebrow in curiosity. What happened, Naruto, and who is that boy who looks like you? Kushina asked with an eyebrow raised in curiosity. She didn't understand what a boy similar to Naruto was doing in the Uzukage office. Besides, the chakra feels very similar to that of the Uzumaki clan. Kenshin, the leader of the Uzumaki clan, raised a curious eyebrow, although he has an idea of who that boy so similar to Naruto is, and was curious as to why he brought him. The blood clone said nothing, but Kushina was happy, since her boss recovered her mother, who is the strongest kunoichi in the shinobi world today, surpassing even Tsunade Senju of the Sannin, a cage-rank kunoichi. Simple mother Uncle Kenshin, this is my blood clone, although I no longer think I would call it a blood clone, since it apparently now has a conscience of its own, thanks to my chakra and Kurama's among other things, so I'm going to make a body for it and transmit its artificial conscience and soul to the body. After all, my blood clone is 100% loyal and deserves a reward for everything it has done. Plus if I can do this we will have another cage level power, Naruto informed with a smile. Kushina and Kenshin looked at Naruto in disbelief and sighing they nodded, knowing well that Naruto does several crazy things. They were not so surprised that strange things happened to Naruto, so they resigned themselves. That is to say that now he will be family. I understand, do what you have to do, and if your blood clone took on a consciousness, I understand that you want to make him a body, and you want to give him a life, and, since he is family just like you, I will support him in everything, said Kushina seriously. Maybe her son's clone is not her son, but he is part of him, only with another consciousness and another personality from what she sees. Thank you mother, I also have something to give you, and the corpse of Menma Yuzumaki, the wife of the first Hokage and Minato Namikaze, your husband, mother and my father. It does not seem fair to me that it is in Konoha, so I will give them to you to bury them in Yuzu. The corpses are in these scrolls, said Naruto, taking out 2 red scrolls and giving them to his uncle. Kenshin and Kushina opened their eyes in surprise, since Naruto brought Mito and Minato, which made both Uzumaki happy, especially Kushina, since she will be able to bury Minato. Perfect Naruto, so Konoha is not going to do anything with Lady Mito. I appreciate it, said Kenshin, happy to have Lady Mito. I agree and thank you, Naruto. Remember, I will always support you with everything you do, and you have nothing to worry about with your clone. I support you in making him a body, said Kushina with a smile. Although she was a little nervous, she just hoped that things wouldn't go badly for her son. Thank you, mother. I'll go to the outskirts of Yuzu. I might be low on chakra when I finish doing all the work. As soon as I finish we'll go to the Chunin exams. Goodbye, mother, see you later, said Naruto, grabbing his clone, disappearing in a flash to the outskirts of Yuzu. It's interesting how Naruto's blood clone managed to have a consciousness and from what we can see an artificial soul, Kenshin said seriously, since what Naruto did is incredibly rare. My son is amazing, but I guess Naruto will take steps to make his blood clan completely loyal, since he took a conscience and has his own soul, an artificial one, but a soul is very interesting, Kushina replied with a smile. We also have to prepare for war. We know well that Iwa and Kuma will not allow us to grow any further, but for now we have to see the invasion of Konoha and send Genin to the Chunin exams. It would be interesting to see the reaction of those useless people, Kenshin mocked. Konoha will pay even if I have to die. I'm going to destroy the leaf for everything they did to my baby, said Kushina coldly. She wants to burn the leaf's trash. Kenshin nodded in understanding. He also wants to burn the leaf, especially Danzo and Hiruzen. They deserve to die, and he will kill them. Meanwhile, with Naruto and his blood clone, the Uzumaki had prepared several seals around them so that the chakras would not be felt and would not alter the population, since he would release a large part of his chakra and that of Kurama to build the body of his blood clan. It's time to do it, Naruto. I will tell you the hand positions, and you have to imagine a body for your clone while you do the jutsu. You must be careful, since you will spend a large amount of chakra when using it. Also, it will be the first time you use it and it will be more laborious, Kurama informed seriously. I understand, Kurama, said Naruto, activating his Rinnegan, which shone brightly in power, and taking out some scrolls where the samples of Uchiha Fugaku, Senju Hashirama and Mito Yuzumaki were, and then cutting and throwing some of their blood on the floor. Then Kurama and Naruto made hand positions and said at the same time, Banbutsu SMZM no Jutsu, creation of all things. Little by little, a body was formed along with the blood and samples of Mito Yuzumaki, Fugaku Uchiha and Senju Hashirama, making a body with these 3 DNA of the most powerful clans in the shinobi world. After finishing saying his jutsu, a body that appeared to be 12 or 13 years old was formed, and for the final act Naruto and Kurama injected it with a large amount of chakra that was easily compared to the Nibi. Well, as a final act Naruto grabbed his clone and the formed body and made the consciousness and artificial soul of his blood clone, as well as the chakra it has, slowly transfer to the new body. Naruto grimaced as he felt like more than half of his chakra was spent in the whole procedure. He didn't think it would cost him so much, and according to Kurama, the transfer jutsu was easy for him since his blood clone agreed and didn't fight, so he spent less chakra. Naruto, I've run out of a large amount of chakra. I estimate that I have a little more than half, said Kurama seriously. The power that transfers to the new body and the power that Naruto uses so that he can create the body without problems was expensive in terms of chakra. I also ran out of chakra, but at least my blood clone now has a body of its own, and we'll have another cage level powerhouse. I think I'll call him Menma Yuzumaki, Naruto said calmly. Kurama looked at Naruto and nodded. After all, Naruto is right, and from what he feels, this power has the potential to even surpass any of the Kages and Biju on the elemental continent, obviously any Biju except him, since he is the most powerful. Boss, I appreciate you creating a body for me. I feel much more powerful. My chakra reserves may be at the range of a few tailed Biju. I feel like I can even defeat the third Hokage, said the blood clone seriously. I can see from what you feel, maybe even with your current power thanks to the new body you have, you can even match the Raikage in terms of power, although I'm not very sure, and since you don't have a name, you will be called Menma Yuzumaki from now on, Naruto informed seriously. Thank you for the name, Lord Naruto, said Menma, grateful, since he finally has a proper name and with the surname of his leader. You have nothing to worry about, Menma, now we have to go and rest. You must get used to your new body and train it, most likely you can awaken the Sharingan bloodline, Mokuton and maybe the diamond chains. You should increase your combat power, Naruto ordered seriously. I understand the boss and I will become stronger to be useful to him, Menma replied seriously, after all he is his boss, and even if he didn't like him, he couldn't disobey. Well, now it's time to rest, then I'll go to Konoha. It's time for me to prepare for the Chunin exams. I wonder what Konoha will think when I reveal myself, and when Yuzu reveals himself completely, Kukuku, said Naruto with an evil smile. Menma and Kurama sweated from Naruto's evil laughter and felt a little sorry for the useless people of Konoha. I understand, boss, I suppose Yuzu will send shinobi teams to the Chunin exams, am I correct? Menma asked with curiosity. He wondered who his boss would send. He didn't know the kids in this place, but he felt several high-level chakra, even some that surpassed the old monkey Hiruzen. Surprisingly, there may be at least 8 or 9 cage-level powerhouses in this country. I will send 1 or 2 teams, and you will be one of the ones I send. You will go with a mask. It will be interesting to see you in the Chunin exams, plus it will be good practice for you, Naruto said simply. Menma nodded in understanding, but he was also happy that maybe he could kill some trash from Konoha. He could even kill that duck ass Uchiha Sasuke or that bubblegum-headed Sakura, since he disliked those two the most out of the idiot genin of this generation. Okay, Menma, follow me. It's time for you to meet the possible partners you will have for the Chunin exams, maybe 1 or 2 will be good training partners, Naruto ordered seriously as he walked towards Yuzu. Menma nodded and followed his leader. After all, he was curious since he is a solid cage-level powerhouse. He just lacks experience and a greater variety of jutsus, and he would be 100% sure that he could defeat any of the 5 cages. End of chapter. Chapter 10. Plans. Currently, Menma Yuzumaki and Naruto Uzumaki were meeting with the candidates to participate in the Chunin exams of Konoha. Naruto, as the one who decides who goes to the exams in the village of Konoha, the Uzumaki was undecided whether to send 1 or 2 teams. After all, he has to be careful with Danzo Shimura and Hiruzen Sarutobi. Since they are the most dangerous in Konoha, those old men are the first who must die, so that Konoha slowly falls, and he will make them fall in the invasion that will soon approach Konoha by Orochimaru, the Sannin of the Snakes, and the other great powers of the shinobi world. The Uzumaki will take advantage of the opportunity to make all his enemies weaken, and better, if they are left without their leaders, so it would be easier to finish them off. Who among us will go to the Chunin exams to be held in Konoha, Naruto-sama? Kamimaro Kagaya asked with great respect and some curiosity, since she knew that there was an invasion of the Leaf by Orochimaru, the Sannin of the Snakes and other shinobi villages. Although she does not want to admit it, the Sannin of the Snakes is very dangerous, even for cage-level opponents. After all, he knows his power better than anyone, so he was somewhat worried, since the Sannin is at the same rank as his leader and he looked at the boy who bears a great resemblance to his leader with some curiosity and felt a lot of danger, not as much as what he feels from his teacher, but enough to compare him to a power in the cage rank surprising in his eyes, since not just any shinobi reaches cage level at such a young age. He wondered if the boy could surpass him. Calm down, Kamimaro, I see your concern, and you don't have to be. After all, this invasion will be taken advantage of by our Whirlpool Nation to weaken our enemies. And answering your question, Kamimaro, 2 teams will go to the Chunin exams. The first team that will go is Menma Yuzumaki. He is a subordinate of mine. I want you to respect him and not do anything to offend Menma. Since his power level is that of a cage, and he could fight on equal terms or even beat the current cages of the 5 great nations, Naruto said seriously. He did not want unnecessary fights to occur in the group. After all, Menma could finish any of them with relative ease if he got serious, and the only one who could match Menma is Kamimaro, but the albino would lose over time. After all, the amount of chakra and resistance of Menma is comparable to that of a Jinchuriki, if not superior. Eren Uzumaki, Taiya and the other shinobi who were around were surprised, but they didn't say anything, knowing well that their leader has the last word. After all, Naruto is the strongest in the country of the whirlpools and is respected by all, since thanks to Naruto, the country was able to position itself so strongly and hide from its enemies. Those who will accompany Menma will be Karen Yuzumaki and Sugetsu Izuki. I do not want problems, so follow Menma's orders, and the second team will be led by Kamimuro Kagaya. With you will go Taiya and Jugo. Be cautious, the snake-san in Orochimaru may appear, so do not face him unless necessary, since only Menma or Kamimuro would have a chance to fight the pedophile. Naruto informs seriously, knowing well that Menma could defeat Orochimaru. But it is unlikely to kill him. After all, that pedophile snake is very elusive, and Kamimuro is powerful in his own right. He may only be inferior to the Hokage, Reikage and Tsuchikage, but not by much difference, and Naruto knew that when Kamimuro gains more experience, he could defeat those pathetic cages. Kamimuro only lacks experience and a little power. Ai and Sugetsu frowned, knowing full well that their leader was right. After all, they were at most close to elite Jounin level, perhaps being able to fight Sarutobi Asuma on an even footing, but they could hardly fight a Sannin, much less one as elusive as Orochimaru, who, despite not being the most powerful, is the most dangerous due to his great intelligence and his forbidden jutsus. Jugo's side as Orochimaru may appear in the Chunin exams being a cage-level ninja. He knows well that he was at an elite Jounin level, and could even fight and defeat most of the strongest Jounin in the leaf, like Asuma, Sarutobi or Shikaku Nara, but he must be cautious, as he knew that if his team fights the snake, it would be problematic if Kamimuro or the new member Menma is not there, as either of them are cage-level powerhouses who could fight Orochimaru on par. Jugo's side and nodded in acknowledgement, as his leader knew the problems that would come in the Chunin exams, so he put them with cage-level ninja as leaders. Karen has the same thoughts as Jugo. She knows he is strong thanks to the fact that he awakened his adamantine chains and his high level of Fuinjutsu, and she was sure that with the full Sugetsu and the young man that their leader put as group leader, they could even defeat Orochimaru if he shows up, but they should be careful. After all, he is a Sannin with whom even the cages are careful. And who will be the supposed Jounin sensei? Lord Naruto asked Kamimuro Kagaya with curiosity, knowing well that they should not send just any Jounin. Most likely they will be cage rank, having some ninjas of that level in the country of whirlpools. My cousin Uzumaki Rei and my right-hand man Shisui Uchiha are both high-level shinobi. Rei has a level comparable to a high-level cage, capable of dealing with any of the cages of the shinobi villages, and Shisui Uchiha could even deal with 2 cages if he gets serious, so follow their orders while you are with them, Naruto said, seriously looking sideways at Sugetsu and Taiya, who are the most troublesome. Shisui Uchiha and Rei Uzumaki nodded in understanding. They may be young, but they are cage-level powers even superior to the current cages, so they weren't too worried about the dangers that will happen, but they have to keep an eye on the others in case they do something foolish or Konoha does something dangerous. Since everyone understood, follow the orders of your squad leader. I don't want there to be any problems, and be careful when you are in Konoha, since Danzo could try a move against you, Naruto said seriously, although he was a little worried. After all, the one-eyed fool is such a wretch that he would even be capable of recruiting one of his subordinates. High Leader Sama. Naruto-sama answered all the shinobi seriously, knowing well the dangers of Konoha. After all, the country of fire is their main enemy, since it has the Warhawk Danzo Shimura and the old monkey Sarutobi Hiruzen, both old dogs difficult to kill, even for cage-level ninjas. Shisui informed the Yuzukage of everything he tells you. He will agree with what he said, since he was going to send teams to Konoha and announce the new country of the whirlpools. It is time for the nations to see that the whirlpool was born again, Naruto said seriously, but internally he expected to see the faces of the pathetic cages. Shisui nodded in understanding and disappeared in a whirlwind of fire towards the Yuzukage tower. The Uchiha was happy to go to Konoha, especially since he will finish off Danzo Shimura at the time of the invasion. He will get his revenge no matter the cost. He may not be a power-hungry Uchiha, but he does want to finish off Danzo no matter the cost, and he will do it with all his power. After Shisui disappeared, Naruto sighed. He now has to go to Konoha to participate in the pathetic Chunin exams that will begin soon. The Uzumaki sighed annoyed, but after thinking about it, he smiled because soon he will finish off Danzo and Hiruzen, and if possible, he could bother Menma's team a little. After all, according to what he understands, his entire team is garbage, and the only one worth it would be Kakashi, and only for his large amount of jutsus that he will soon steal from him. After all, Kakashi's knowledge will be very good for the country of the whirlpools. Okay guys, follow orders. I'll go. I have to go to Konoha. I'll be a participant in the Chunin exams. Goodbye. We'll see each other again soon when those silly exams begin, and maybe you'll find some Jinchuricus, so be very careful, since you know how powerful the Jinchuricus are when using the power of their Bijuu, said Naruto, disappearing in a red flash. It was time to begin the Chunin exams. Naruto, upon appearing in the apartment, saw his clone and dispelled it, and sighing changed his appearance to how his clone is, and upon processing the knowledge of his clone he sighed, since in a couple of hours he has to meet with his team. He just hoped that they would not make him angry, but rather he would finish them off. 8 hours later Naruto Uzumaki appeared at the Team 7 training camp where he saw his teammates with a dark face and an indifferent Kakashi, possibly because he just arrived and was not bothered by his delay. Uzumaki shook his head as he fully understands why Menma hates those three so much. Sasuke is a weak emo. Sakura is a brat who looks like an obsessed child, and finally Kakashi, an idiot who lives in the past who never cared about his sensei's son in Naruto's eyes. These three are trash, although the biggest trash. Naruto baka, why are you late? Sakura screamed like an angry banshee going to attack the Uzumaki, but the Uzumaki grabbed a bubblegum head's fist and threw it at the table as if it were garbage, which is not far from reality after all, for a ninja bubblegum hair is pathetic. Don't try to attack again, trash, or maybe next time, not only will I throw you to the ground as if you were nothing, but what will fall to the ground will be your blood, silly girl, said Naruto coldly. He didn't understand how Menma put up with that useless girl. If it were up to him, he would cut off the head of that bubblegum-headed brat. He doesn't have the patience to put up with the useless one in the trash, the idiot facade that Menma put up in Konoha. Now he wants to end the pathetic existence of this brat. Kakashi and Sasuke widened their eyes in shock and disbelief as Naruto attacked Sakura, while Sakura looked at Naruto with hatred and fear as he had never attacked her when she hit him. Haruno was angry and fearful of Naruto's behavior. Naruto, you should not attack your teammates, that is not Konoha's philosophy, said Kakashi angrily, but also surprised. He did not understand what was happening to the Uzumaki. Could it be that the Kyuubi is influencing him, Kakashi thought. And she can attack me next time. I won't be soft, and I will give her a hard lesson. And don't you think you are a hypocrite person after all? Kakashi, you killed your teammate, mocked Naruto cruelly, as he loved to tease trash. He may not keep the cover for long, but he knows well that soon will be the invasion of Konoha, and there he reveals his true colors against Konoha. Sasuke and Sakura looked at Kakashi in disbelief. They didn't expect their Jounin sensei to be so ruthless with his teammates. Who told you that, Naruto? Kakashi asked tensely. He didn't expect Naruto to hide so much venom against him and his team. Kakashi wondered if the Naruto he knew was just a mask or if the Kyuubi was influencing him. Either of those two options would be very problematic. He just hoped that nothing bad would happen. You don't have to know, I don't trust you, in case you try to kill me. After all, you did it with your teammates, so tell me why you called us, Naruto mocked. Kakashi froze, since Naruto was saying such hurtful things, although not so far from the truth, since the third Hokage ordered him to kill Naruto if he got out of control. The Haddock was tense, so he handed some papers to Naruto, who took them. These are the papers that we must sign to attend the Chunin exams. You don't have to worry, I will attend. I am leaving. I do not want to be in this place any longer. See you at the Chunin exams, said Naruto, disappearing in a whirlwind of leaves. He knew that the change in his personality will put the Hokage on alert, but it is fun to see how the elders will try to control him, and seeing Kakashi's look of shock increased his amusement even more. That was weird. I don't know what's wrong with the dope, said Sasuke, seeing how Naruto left. The Uchiha was jealous, since he realized that Naruto disappeared at great speed, something that he has to learn after all, he is an Uchiha. Sakura didn't say anything, but she was nervous and afraid, since Naruto had never treated her in such a cruel way to the point that he threatened her. Haruno didn't understand what had happened to Naruto and why he behaved in a bad way with her if he had never hurt her. Kakashi was tense about everything that happened with Naruto and sighing. He just approached Sasuke and Sakura and gave them the forms, then explained what they have to do and if they decided to enter the Chunin exams, and disappeared in a whirlwind of leaves, since he has to inform the third Kage what happened in the encounter with Naruto, who behaved in a cold manner. 5 minutes later Kakashi had arrived at the office of the third Hokage to inform him of what happened. Sarutobi Hiruzen was tense, since the brat Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi had either become violent or was showing his true personality, which is rare, since he was guarded by Anbus, which made him much more terrifying, and if it is the latter, Sarutobi the third Hokage has a strong headache because of the problems that are coming thanks to Naruto. I see, Naruto has changed a lot, it is worrying, but we can't do anything, Kakashi. The Chunin exams are about to begin, and we can't prohibit our Jinchuriki from participating in the Chunin exams. After all, he has the strongest beast of the 9 tails. After all, the Jinchuriki of the Ichibi will come, and even though Naruto hasn't been trained properly, it is better to have the power of the Kyuubi in the exams for the moment until we can find a new Jinchuriki. I agree, Lord Hokage, it would be better for Lord Jiraiya to return to the village. After all, the Ichibi Jinchuriki is dangerous from what I've heard. Also, if Lord Jiraiya returns, he could establish a relationship with Naruto and have ties in Konoha, and if that is not possible, Lord Jiraiya could build seals to better retain the power of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, said Kakashi, seriously, knowing well how dangerous Jinchuriki are if they get out of control. I understand Kakashi, from what I called Jiraiya a while ago, it is most likely that my student will return for the second stage of the Chunin exams, and when he returns he will approach Naruto. I need the Jinchuriki to be loyal to the village, otherwise he would be a danger in the future, and if he is unfortunately we will have to get rid of the brat, said the Hokage coldly. He was not worried about the Uzumaki. He stunted his growth and pretended to be a kind grandfather in a village that hates the Jinchuriki, thus making the Uzumaki loyal to him and the village, but from what he understands, it did not work correctly, which upset him. I understand Lord Hokage, but for the moment the brat has to participate in the exams which he will do, then we will see how exactly we will deal with Naruto, said Kakashi seriously, since now he realized how dangerous Naruto is. You can leave Kakashi, I have many things to think about, said Hiruzen seriously. Now he would have to modify his plans a little. Meanwhile in Iwagakure the Sandaime Tsuchika Jinoki of the two scales was with a smile on his face, since now he could finish off Konoha with the help of Orochimaru and the Kazuki-age, and the best thing is that there are not so many problematic shinobis, there is no Senjutsu-nade, there is no Uchiha clan, there is no Hadouken Kumo, there is no Yellow Flash or Red Death, that Tsuchika shuddered with the last two, after all the combat power of those two could level even a shinobi village. Itsuchi who was in the Tsuchikage's office sighed, he didn't know if allying with Orochimaru and the Kazuki-age was a good idea, since he knew well that the snake is someone very dangerous, and the Kazuki-age in the village of Suna is the weakest village of the five, after all, they don't have powerful shinobi having only the Kazuki-age and his Jinchuriki as powers. Ukikuku I will take care of destroying Konoha, there is not as much firepower as there was years ago, now it will be easy to liquidate Konoha with Orochimaru and Raza, along with their subordinates, Inoki said with a cruel smile at the thought of burning Konoha. Konoha is still strong, it has Jiraiya the Toad Sage, Kakashi the Copy Ninja, Guy the Green Beast of the Leaf, Asuma Sarutobi the son of the Sandaime Hokage, Hyuga Hiashi, the leader of the Hyuga clan, and other clan leaders who have a high rank, even if we join Orochimaru, it would be difficult to defeat all those powers, Kitsuchi said seriously. Only the Sandaime Hokage and Jiraiya the Toad Sage represent a great threat to us, perhaps also the Copy Ninja, but the rest are ninjas that can be dealt with. In addition, according to Orochimaru's plan, he himself will be in charge of dealing with the Hokage, and in the case of Jiraiya, Han and Rashi will be enough to defeat him, while the Ichibi causes destruction in Konoha, the Copy Ninja will be dealt with by me, so do not worry, said Inoki indifferently. He knew that Konoha has no chance against him and his allies. I understand, I hope everything goes well in this invasion, sighed Kitsuchi, he just hoped that nothing else would come to his village. End of chapter. Chapter 11. The Chunin exams begin. Currently, the different ninja villages had just sent their ninjas for the Chunin exams. This exam would demonstrate the power of the shinobi villages where there are several elite ninjas who even surpass the power of a genin. In one part of Konoha you could see a group of children running, with a crazy girl with a big forehead chasing them until suddenly these children collide with some genins from the Sunagakure village, something that the Sunagakure ninjas did not like at all. Hey brat, watch where you're going, Kangaroo scolded angrily, staring at the dwarf who hit him. If the brat didn't apologize, he would teach him a lesson. Look at you, Konohamaru refuted, annoyed, he didn't like the boy with makeup at all, and he didn't like being scolded. Kangaroo frowned and forcefully lifted Konohamaru, angry that he was going to hit him after all the boy had disrespected him. Respect your elders, brat. I'll teach you a lesson, so you learn a lesson, growled Kangaroo angrily. I'm not afraid of you clown and you can't do anything to me, Konohamaru buffoon, he is the grandson of the third Hokage, and although he doesn't like to show his image as the grandson of the third Hokage, but it was the best thing to do otherwise that clown would hit him, so it would be better to say it before he does something to him. Kangaroo puts the child down if you continue with your nonsense we will get into trouble, scolded Tamari angrily she didn't want Konoha ninjas to come and punish them. Tamari the kid has to pay, this brat disrespected me, he deserves to be taught a lesson, retorted Kangaroo a little annoyed, he wouldn't stop until he taught this brat a lesson. Tamari shook her head at her younger brother's nonsense and was going to persuade him again, but she saw a pink-haired girl arrive. Sakura, seeing unknown ninjas grab Konohamaru, was surprised and nervous, but she gathered her courage after all this is Konoha. They take the child down, they are hurting him, Sakura shouted, a little worried, maybe the child has offended her, but he is a citizen of Konoha and he is a small child. Shut up brat or I'll kill you too, growled Kangaroo. He was already angry because of his sister's reprimand and now this girl also wants to order him around. He would kill her before. Sakura fell silent and felt intimidated, while Naruto who had just arrived looked indifferently at the Sunagakure ninjas and felt several chakra signatures approaching his subordinates from Yuzu and from what he felt several other shinobi who are at least at the level of a Chunin. A few minutes before, two groups of Yuzu Genin ninjas could be seen heading towards the Chunin exams until suddenly they heard a fight which made them curious, so both groups went to the place where the battle was taking place. Other Genin teams also heard the screams and went curiously to see what was happening. As Kangaroo was about to hit Konohamaru until suddenly Naruto appeared, grabbing his hand and squeezed it so hard that even Kangaroo felt like his bones were breaking. Temari was about to attack, but a look from Naruto made her stop, while Kangaroo felt cold. She didn't think that the little boy who was with the pink-haired girl would be so strong. This kid will be troublesome if I face him, maybe only Gaara has the level to defeat this brat, Temari thought with a hint of fear, after all her power is far above a Genin level, but that blonde-haired boy made her feel like she was an ant. Angura was angry, but he also has the same thoughts as Temari, he believes that only Gaara would have a chance to defeat the blonde-haired boy. Sakura looked at Naruto in shock and disbelief, she didn't think the last dead was so powerful, she didn't see how he moved and appeared next to the Sunagaker ninja, she wondered if he would be stronger than her Sasuke-kun, but he shook his head, her Sasuke-kun is the strongest, and that idiot Naruto wouldn't stand a chance against Sasuke-kun. Konohamaru, Mogi and Yuden looked at Naruto in surprise. They didn't think he would be so strong. The trio had stars in their eyes since the blonde boy saved them, and although they didn't have a friendship, the fact that he helped them against that boy with makeup makes them happy. I think it's time to stop Sunagaker ninja, we have new visitors, you can also leave Sasuke, and you too, Jinchuriki of the Ichibi, said Naruto indifferently, looking sideways at the tree where the conceited Uchiha and the Jinchuriki of Sunagaker were. But the most impressed were two ninjas who were hiding in a tree, one of them was a Redeed named Gaara, a genin from Sunagaker, and the other was Sasuke Uchiha, a genin from Konoha, both of them were very impressed by Naruto's speed, he could easily approach the speed of a jounin. Naruto, seeing that Kangaroo wouldn't make a move against the brat, smiled and let him go. Kangaroo took several steps back, his wrist aching and a little scared of the blonde-haired boy, who didn't even see him move. Kangaroo and Temari looked at Naruto in disbelief and looked sideways at the tree in fear. They knew who the Jinchuriki of Ichibi is, and that is their younger brother Gaara. They just hoped that their brother would not kill them. Furthermore, they did not understand how the boy knew that Gaara is the Jinchuriki of the one-tailed Biju. This worried them, since their plan could be exposed. "Oh, I see you detected me, you are not that bad, you have improved compared to a couple of days ago," said Sasuke indifferently. "Shut up Sasuke, even a Chunin could detect you, you're pathetic to hide," Naruto snorted amused and looked out of the corner of his eye, still in the tree, waiting for the Ichibi's Jinchuriki to appear, it would be interesting to be able to recruit him. Sasuke and Sakura frowned, one because he didn't like that the dobe spoke to him so disrespectfully and the other because she didn't like that Naruto spoke so badly to her Sasuke-kun. "Naruto Baka, don't talk to Sasuke-kun like that," Sakura shouted in a shrill voice. She didn't understand why Naruto had changed, but she didn't care. She wouldn't tolerate the idiot Naruto speaking so disrespectfully to her Sasuke-kun. "Sakura, shut up or I'll kill you," said Naruto indifferently, he was more interested in knowing the power of the Ichibi than listening to the pathetic Kunoichi he has as a teammate. Temari and Kangaroo sweated that phrase that the blonde-haired boy said made them remember Gaara, and that scared them after all they knew Gaara's terror, and when the boy behaved in a cold way they felt a sensation even more dangerous than Gaara's. "Now appears the Jinchuriki of the Ichibi," said Naruto with a smile without taking his gaze off the tree. He wanted to see what abilities the boy had. Gaara suddenly appeared and saw his brothers, then the squealing girl who wants to kill the voice of that brat disturbed him, even his mother was clamoring to kill her. "Temari, Kangaroo, calm down or I'll kill you, and your pink-haired girl stop screaming or I'll kill you, mother is crying out for your blood," said Gaara coldly. His mother was roaring to kill that brat, but he didn't make any move since he was interested in the blonde boy. Temari and Kangaroo paled at Gaara's words and took 2 steps back, they didn't want Gaara to kill us. "Gaara, please calm down, we are not to blame for what was happening," said Kangaroo with a lot of fear in his voice, he did not want Gaara to kill him, which is very likely to happen if he gets angry. "Gaara, calm down, it's not our fault what happened," Temari said, a little nervous. She didn't want her little brother to get out of control. After all, if he gets out of control, he could kill them. Besides, he could release the Ichibi if he goes crazy. "Wow, ninjas from Sunagaker, ninjas from Konagaker, I see that several of you are very powerful," said a female voice. "This genin is a shinobi from Iwagaker, this woman is Kuritsuchi, a genin who has a level above her rank, this genin appeared to be approximately 13 years old." Akatsuki and Kido watched helplessly as their team leader. They knew Kuritsuchi was strong, but the red-haired boy and the blonde-haired boy gave them a feeling of crisis, and now their jounin leader was gone, and they were a little afraid that a battle might break out. "Kuritsuchi-san, don't provoke the Konoha ninjas. Lord Tsuchikage already told you about your behavior," scolded Kido nervously. After all, he was in enemy territory. Calm down Kido-san, nothing will happen, I just want to get to know my opponents a little, Kuritsuchi snorted, seeing the opponents she will have in the Chunin exams. Perry, Amoy and Atsui suddenly appeared watching the spectacle. They were very interested in seeing if a big battle would break out, but they cautiously looked at the red-haired boy and the yellow-haired boy, which gave them a feeling of crisis. It's interesting, I wonder how strong you Konohagakure, Iwagakure and Sunagakure ninjas are, Atsui said arrogantly, but looking out of the corner of his eye at the sand ninja, that maniac look made him feel uncomfortable. Don't be arrogant Atsui, Dari-sensei already told you about your behavior, Amoy said nervously, and seeing the ninjas from the different villages he felt uncomfortable with all the looks. Get ready, there might be a fight, said Karui seriously looking at the shinobi from Sunagakure, Kanagakure and others. Oh, but how interesting and powerful are the genin of the main ninja villages. I hope they can give me a good fight in these Chunin exams, said a 12-year-old boy who was obviously confident. Lord Menma calm down, remember not to provoke any ninja until the Chunin exams begin, said Karen sighing she thought her Jounin would accompany them, but they didn't let them walk around Konoha without supervision, she shook her head, she knew that problems were happening. Ai and Sujetsu were going to talk, but a look from Kimimaro felt them. They may both be strong at a level close to that of an elite Jounin, but not even together could they beat the white-haired man. After all, he is a cage-level powerhouse. Be careful with the red-haired boy, he is powerful, said Kimimaro, looking seriously at the Jinchuriki of the sand. He was sure he could defeat him, but his teammates would have little chance. Lose Kimimaro I feel his chakra, and it is enormous said Karen seriously looking at the one-tailed Jinchuriki she didn't know if she could defeat that boy if she released her tailed beast. You don't have to worry if he tries something I'll finish him off, said Kimimaro indifferently, he could defeat that kid. Ai, Jugo, Karen and Sujetsu sweated at the casual way Kimimaro spoke about eliminating one of the 9 Jinchuriki. Menma looked at Kimimaro with amusement. He had no doubt that the white-haired man could defeat the Ichibi's Jinchuriki. I see many very promising rivals, said Naruto looking at all his opponents, and glanced at those of Yuzu's team he hoped that nothing would happen to them after all they are his subordinates, but he was very interested to see how these genin would react when they find out that Menma and the rest are ninjas from the country of whirlpools. He only hoped that Danzo or Hiruzen would not make any move against his subordinates, otherwise he himself would finish them off to hell with the consequences. You will all die, mother wants your blood, said Gaara with a cruel smile, and with a great killing intent coming out of him. In addition, around him a large amount of sand surrounded him, as if it were protecting him and ready to attack. Kuritsuchi got ready for battle in the face of Gaara's threat by taking out 2 kunai, and her teammates did the same, but they were nervous after all they are in enemy territory and would face the crazy Redeed. Atsui, Amoy and Karui got into combat stance, drew their swords and surrounded them with lightning. They will not allow the Redeed to threaten them, even though that child made them feel nervous. Sakura paled and took several steps back in fear. Gaara's killing intent disturbed her quite a bit. She was not used to such a feeling. Konohamaru, Yuden and Mogi were blank and stood behind Naruto who looked at them with indifference. He didn't care about them, but for the moment he wouldn't allow them to harm him or they would cause problems. Sasuke looked at Gaara with fighting intent. He is an Uchiha and would not back down against any low-level shinobi, much less shinobi from other villages who are nothing in his eyes. Menma and Kimimaro were unfazed by Gaara's threat, both had an indifferent look towards the Ichibi Jinchuriki. They are cage-level shinobi, even if they faced the Kazuki-age, they had the confidence to deal with Raza. Karen and the rest of the Yuzu shinobi looked at Gaara seriously, although they knew that if they fought the uncontrolled Jinchuriki, there was little chance of winning. Damari and Kangaroo paled and took a few steps back now they knew that Gaara could go crazy, and they saw the blonde boy and realized that he had a small smile, then they saw the ninjas that have a swirl in their shinobi headband, some looked at Gaara with caution. But the white-haired and the black-haired who seemed to be the leaders of the team, looked at their brother with indifference, then they looked at those from Iwa and saw that they looked at Gaara with caution, then they looked at those from Kumagakure and saw that they were tense. The most dangerous are the blonde ninja, the white-haired ninja and the black-haired ninja, they don't have even a hint of fear of Gaara, they only have indifference. No shinobi in Sunagakure would see Gaara with indifference, after all, Gaara with the power of the Ichibi is a threat even for elite Jounin, and only his father could contain him, Tamari thought, now cautiously looking at those 3 ninjas. Jinchuriki of the Ichibi your killing intent is not bad at all, but that will only work against the weak, Menma said, with a great killing intent coming out of him, a killing intent so strong that it completely eclipsed Gaara's. Damari and Kangaroo paled even more at Menma's killing intent. Both Sunagakure ninjas looked at the Uzumaki in horror. Naruto smiled at Menma's killing intent. He knew that killing intent was disturbing all the shinobi around and that the Anbu and Jounin would come after all. They wouldn't let ninjas from other villages fight in Konoha. "You are a monster," said Sakura. She is now more afraid of the black-haired man. She believed that even if her Jounin sensei faces that black-haired man she doubted he could win. Now she is reluctant to participate in the Chunin exams if those two monsters participate. Everyone feeling Menma's killing intent was going to start a battle, and Gaara was slightly surprised but smiled evilly ready for battle. "I think it's better to stop. If we fight too soon the Anbu and Jounin will come, and I suppose we won't be able to participate in the Chunin exams, so it would be better if we don't make a scene and each one goes their own way," said Naruto with a cordial smile, but from him came a great killing intent that even surpassed Menma's. In a few words he implied that if they didn't stop everyone would die. "You don't have to worry, we'll see each other at the Chunin exams. By the way, those are their names?" Kuretsuchi asked curiously, pointing to Naruto, Menma, Kimimaro, and Gaara, who in her eyes are the strongest. "I am Naruto Uzumaki from the Leaf Village. Nice to meet you, princess," said Naruto indifferently. He knew that girl is Inoki's granddaughter and that she possibly has the power of a low-level Jounin. "Sabaku.no Gaara of the Sand Village," said Gaara emotionlessly. He was already bored and knew that if he fought, he wouldn't be able to kill them when several Jounin come. The best thing would be to kill them when the Chunin exams start. "Kimimaro Kagaya from the Whirlpool Village," said the white-haired man seriously. He was already bored of this drama. He didn't make any move, although he was happy to see his leader well. He just hoped that his leader's plan went perfectly. "Menma Yuzumaki from the Whirlpool Village," said Menma with a big smile and looked at Sakura and Sasuke out of the corner of his eye. If possible, he wanted to eliminate them after all, although they were teammates at the time, both were pathetic and desperate. Kitsuchi and Kido opened their eyes in surprise. After all, each of those surnames are known in the shinobi world. In addition, the Whirlpool Village seemed familiar to them. After all, Lord Tsuchikage mentioned it once. Atsui, Kari and Amoy were tense. They knew a little about the Uzumaki. After all, Uzumaki Kushina was the terror of Kumagakure. Even Master Killer Bee lost in his youth against that woman in the war. It is said that she is the most powerful woman in the shinobi world. Damari and Kangaroo opened their eyes in surprise at the names, especially the surname Uzumaki. They both knew a Kunoichi with that surname, who is Uzumaki Kushina, a Kunoichi that even her father fears. Sasuke and Sasuke were surprised after all that such a Menma Yuzumaki has the last name of their teammate. They did not understand how that such a Menma has the same last name, and they saw the bandana of those ninjas, and it looked too much like the whirlpool that the Chunin and Jounin have. Naruto smiled at the surprise of his teammates and the ninjas of Sunagakure, Iwagakure and Kumagakure. He knew that those ninjas would tell their Jounin everything they heard, and those Jounin would talk to their cages. Naruto knew that those cages would not make any move for the moment, especially Inoki and Raza, who along with Orochimaru, would invade Konoha in the finals of the Chunin exams. "Interesting, so you also have the last name Uzumaki," said Naruto with a cordial smile, but in his eyes, you could see amusement. He was enjoying acting. "And I see that you are too. I will remember your name, Uzumaki Naruto. I hope to see you in the Chunin exams," Menma said with a smile. He wanted to test himself against his leader. It would be very interesting to see a battle between him and his leader. Although they would not fight with all their power, he knew that it would be an excellent battle. "I also hope to see all of you in the Chunin exams. It will be interesting to fight with such powerful rivals," Naruto laughed happily. He wanted to see the battles between his subordinates and the fools of the 5 nations. The members of the Whirlpool teams nodded at Naruto's words. They would fight with all their might so as not to embarrass their leader. "Let's go, we have to meet with our Jounin sensei," said Menma looking at Naruto with a smile, and then sent an icy look to Sasuke and Sakura. If possible he will eliminate them in the invasion. The rest of the Whirlpool ninjas followed him without saying a word, but they looked at their opponents out of the corner of their eye. According to their mission, they had to eliminate them. After all, they will be the future of Kumo, Iwa and Suna. "I was also interesting to meet you all. I'm leaving, see you at the Chunin exams. I hope you're not scared, Sakura Sasuke," said Naruto with a smile, disappearing a swirl of leaves. "Mother will have your blood, Uzumaki Naruto, Uzumaki Menma, Kagaya Kimimaro," said Gaara, and then retired. He did not have much interest in the other ninjas. In his eyes they are not worthy prey. Damari and Kangaroo looked at each other a little nervously, then they looked at Gaara and sighed. Defeated, they followed their younger brother. They would not disobey their brother, since if they irritate him, he might kill them. "Let's go, we have nothing to do in this place," ordered Kuretsuchi seriously. Now she needs to talk to her Jounin and have them inform her grandfather about the participants of the Chunin exams. "We're going too. We have to report what happened in this place to Dari-sensei," said Atsui. He knew a little about the Uzumaki clan. After all, his sister told him that it was a clan that could even rival a shinobi village. Kari and Amoy nodded. They were tense about what happened and it was best to inform their Jounin sensei. Sakura looked at all the shinobi who had retreated and sighed in relief, since she thought that if those children had fought, she could have been injured or worse, killed. Besides, she didn't want her Sasuke-kun to be hurt by those ninjas who gave her a sense of crisis. Sasuke frowned as he watched those shinobi retreat. He would have to talk to Kakashi and ask him about the Uzumaki surname. He was intrigued by this Menma Yuzumaki. His killing intent disturbed him. He had to become stronger, after all, he was an Uchiha. The sound ninjas who were in the tree where Gaara and Sasuke were previously hiding saw all the ninjas who retreated and were sweating, especially because of Menma's killing intent. They were disturbed. Maybe that boy could compare to Lord Orochimaru, the hidden sound ninjas thought. Let's go, we have to report what we saw today to Lord Orochimaru as soon as possible, Dosu said with fear in his voice. Those brats really scared him, the killing intent of the redeed, the blonde-haired man and the black-haired man was very terrifying. The other sound ninjas nodded fearfully in their eyes. Those ninjas are even more terrifying than many of the sound ninjas. The three disappeared, not wanting to run into the blonde boy, the red-haired boy, and the black-haired boy for the moment. End of chapter. Chapter 12. The Chunin exams begin part 2. After the small conflict between the ninjas of the Whirlpool Village, the Rock Village, the Lightning Village and the Leaf Village, the different genin of the Great Powers were heading towards the Chunin exam hall, each with different expressions after meeting their opponents. The ninjas we ran into are not normal, each one is dangerous, especially the black-haired boy from the unknown village, and the blonde boy, Temari said, somewhat nervous. Those two ninjas gave her a feeling of oppression even stronger than her father's. She did not think she would meet such dangerous ninjas in the Chunin exams. The one who made me nervous is the blonde kid, maybe it's better to ignore him in the Chunin exams, the power he showed makes me feel like I'm an ant, said Kangaroo. Fearfully, that brat gave him a feeling even more dangerous than Gaara's. You guys don't do anything, don't mess with them, since those ninjas are my prey. Both Uzumaki Naruto and Menma Yuzumaki are powerful, but I am stronger, so I will kill them, Gaara said coldly, with a great amount of killing intent coming out of him. Gaara, I don't think we should provoke those ninjas. I know you are very strong, and that almost no ninja and Sunagaker can be your opponent, but we have a mission, and we can't put ourselves in danger by facing Menma Yuzumaki and Naruto Uzumaki, at least not for now. The power of both may be close to yours, and if there is a battle it would be very dangerous, said Temur sweating as she felt Gaara's death gaze. Gaara looked coldly at Temari and increased his killing intent, but said nothing. He wanted to see the power of the Chunin exam participants. He will not pay attention to Temari and will not waste his time on someone as pathetic as Temari. He will only say a few small words to her so that she does not contradict her superiors. Temari, shut up, and if you order me again I will kill you with my sand coffin. It's clear, Gaara said coldly, and with his eyes shining in a sinister way. He wanted to kill Temari for her audacity to order him, but he knew he couldn't kill her because, if not, he won't be able to participate in these silly exams and he wouldn't have the chance to kill Menma Yuzumaki and Naruto Uzumaki. Temari trembled at her little brother's killing intent. She loves him, but she is also very afraid of him. After all, inside Gaara is the beast that makes Sunagaker feared. It is Shikaku, the one-tailed Biju. Kangaroo gulped but didn't say anything, knowing full well that Gaara was in a bad mood, so he better keep quiet. He just hoped that his younger brother wouldn't attack his older sister, otherwise it would be very troublesome. I understand, Gaara, you have nothing to worry about, I won't say anything anymore, said Temari, trembling at the killing intent of her younger brother. She knew that her brother may be the strongest in Sunagaker, only below his father the Kazekage and the counselors Lady Chiyo and Lord Ibizo. Gaara looked at Temari for a moment but said nothing and headed towards the Chunin exams. In his eyes, Temari is just an annoying insect. In his eyes, only Menma Yuzumaki and Naruto Uzumaki are worthy of being his prey. He just hoped that in this pathetic exam he would find other high-level prey, since, although the Iwa ninjas and the Kumo ninjas he met are relatively decent, at most they are at Temari's level, maybe a little higher, but it is not worthy of his attention. The Guro and Temari sighed, but they both had the same thoughts, and that is a lot of caution against Menma Yuzumaki and Naruto Uzumaki. Those ninjas may be opponents of a level comparable to Gaara's, and that made them much more careful and nervous. After all, only Gaara can put his father in danger. They knew that they are no rivals against those two children. But the rock ninjas, they were with their Jounin sensei, talking about what happened with the ninjas from the different villages, about everything that happened between Gaara of the Sand, Naruto Uzumaki of the Leaf, and Menma Yuzumaki of the Whirlpool Village. Tell me exactly what happened to you, I can see your looks, and I know you had some problems, Kitsuchi said calmly, although he also seemed serious. After all, in his eyes, it was very rare to see students like that, especially his daughter who is a prodigy, and he knew that very few genin could be a threat. Kuritsuchi's companions looked at her, indicating that she should inform her Jounin sensei. After all, they ran into dangerous people that even made them feel in crisis. We had a meeting with the genin from the different villages. There are very problematic opponents, but there are 4 that made us feel very uncomfortable, and I even feel that I am not their opponent, said Kuritsuchi somewhat tensely remembering the killing intention of those 3 genin. Itsuchi was a little surprised and put on alert, since his daughter is almost at Jounin level, and for these genin to put her on alert, she should at least be at the level of an elite Jounin. Who are those ninjas? Tell me their names and which villages they belong to. Kitsuchi ordered seriously. He just hoped those ninjas didn't cause him any trouble, otherwise he'd have to eliminate them. Kuritsuchi, Kitsuchi and Kito looked at each other, knowing that Kitsuchi would not like the names Menma Yuzumaki and Naruto Yuzumaki after all. Both must be related to Kushina Yuzumaki, who was known as the strongest kunoichi and wife of the Yondaime, as well as a woman who caused countless casualties to the Rock Village. I'll tell you in the order that I see the danger. I will go from the least dangerous to the most dangerous. The first is Kimameru Kagaya, according to what I indicate is from the country of the whirlpool. The second is Gara of the Sand. My intuition is that this child may be at the Jounin level, or maybe he is at the level of an elite Jounin, I am not sure. The third is Menma Yuzumaki, he is also a ninja from Yuzu, and finally there is Naruto Yuzumaki, he indicated that he is a ninja from the Leaf Village. I think that the last 2 may exceed the level of an elite Jounin, said Kuritsuchi seriously. She felt as if she were in front of her father or even her grandfather, and that surprised her and at the same time terrified her. When Kitsuchi heard the surname Uzumaki and the nation of Yuzu, he opened his eyes in surprise and frowned. After all, the country of whirlpools was a strong nation in the past, and that it had re-emerged would be problematic. He would have to inform Lord Tsuchikage. He just hoped that the Uzumaki would not cause them so much trouble. I understand this information was very important. I have to speak with Lord Tsuchikage as soon as possible, so settle in the apartment. I will send a message, and most likely you will not see me in Konoha soon, and I will return to Iwagakure, said Kitsuchi seriously on the subject of the Uzumakas. Kuritsuchi and the rest of the genin looked at each other somewhat tensely at their sensei's behavior, but they nodded. Since they saw their Jounin sensei so serious, they assumed that he would talk to Lord Tsuchikage about the information. Shit, the land of whirlpools is on the move again, but what I don't understand is why I haven't heard that they are allied with Konoha, and why have they just reappeared in the world? Something is not right. I will have to talk to Lord Tsuchikage, thought Kitsuchi somewhat distressed. After all, he knew how powerful the Uzumaki clan is. After all, Uzumaki Kushina was a terror to Kumagakure and Iwagakure. I think I will have to see them for myself to know what their position will be in this invasion. But the genin of Kumagakure, they were meeting with their Jounin sensei, who is known as the right hand of the 4th Reikage. This shinobi is Diary, a ninja who is easily classified as an S-rank shinobi on par with Kakashi Haddock. Something very annoying happened, said Atsui somewhat nervously. After all, he remembers what happened in the meeting with the rest of the genin, and the truth is that Gara of the Sand, Naruto of the Leaf and Menma of the Leaf did look like beasts. Eri raised an eyebrow in curiosity at seeing Atsui so tense and glanced to Kari and Amoy, who were worse off than Atsui. He assumed they had met someone very powerful. Maybe he isn't their true Jounin after all. Killer B-sama, who is the Reikage's brother, is his teacher, but since he couldn't leave Kumagakure, he was given the mission of being the Jounin sensei of this team, so he would have to know what happened to protect them. Tell me what happened, judging by your faces, I suppose it's something very problematic, Darui ordered seriously, seeing the genin somewhat tense. The 3 genin gulped when they saw the seriousness of the lazy Darui, who, although he had an indifferent behavior, now seemed somewhat serious. Well, we met with the different genin teams from the ninja villages, and we were able to see some opponents that we are sure are at another level, and although our level is strong, well above an average genin, I think that these ninjas will be the most annoying opponents, said Kari, not stating that she would lose her pride. She would not allow it. Amoy and Atsui looked at Kari in disbelief, knowing that their partner was afraid of those genin, but they didn't say anything as it would be problematic to admit it. Tell me who those shinobis are and from which village they are, said Darui, now curious, since these young men have the power to rival a high-level chunin, but they were overwhelmed by the shinobis from the different villages. That surprised him and worried him. The first is Gara from the Sand Village. He is a red-haired boy about 12 or 13 years old with a tattoo on his head. I felt his killing intent and it is very powerful. It made me feel very uncomfortable and somewhat nervous. Maybe his level is that of a jounin, Amoy said, somewhat nervous remembering the crazy redeed. I see the son of the Kazukiage, according to what he says, is a very crazy ninja. Be careful with him. Maybe even the 3 of you together couldn't hold him back, especially if he leads the one-tailed beast. Darui said, sighing, knowing that this child is the Jinchuriki of the Sand Village and a madman who kills everything. He is like Killer B-sama, the genin asked somewhat tensely. After all, they knew how strong a tailed beast is, and although that redeed has the one-tailed Bijuu, they knew that he would not be weak at all. It would be best to avoid him. Amoy and Atsui were scared when they heard that the redeed is the one-tailed Jinchuriki. That made them very nervous. After all, they knew that the power of a Bijuu is terrifying. The Redeed is very unstable. According to the spies in the Sand Village, that child does not control his Bijuu, therefore, he is not as strong as Killer Bee, but still avoid facing that child. Not even I am sure of defeating him if he releases the power of his Bijuu, said Derry calmly, knowing well the power of the Bijuu, and although he is strong, he was not sure he could defeat Gaara if he went crazy. We understand Derry, we will avoid the Redeed, Atsui said somewhat tensely. He may be arrogant, but he is not stupid, he is still a genin, and could not fight a Jinchuriki. Tell me the other shinobi who made you feel nervous, they can't be weaker than the one-tailed Jinchuriki. I'm right, Derry said calmly. The next one is Kagaya Kimareru. From what I feel she may have an intermediate Jounin level, maybe a high Jounin level, I'm not sure, but from what I saw she was the leader of one of the two teams from the country of whirlpools, and although I don't know that country I'm surprised that they have shinobi of such a good level, said Atsui, somewhat surprised that this unknown country has shinobi of such a high level. Shit, Derry cursed upon learning that one of the Kagaya clan was alive, but above all because the country of whirlpools was back in. He knew the stories of the country of whirlpools. After all, Kumakager, Iwagakure and Kurigakure joined forces to finish off that nation and lost more than half of their troops in the process. Derry, what's happening, asked Carrie, surprised by her leader's curse. She never heard him behave that way. She was somewhat tense and curious about what Derry thinks. Listen to me carefully and be careful. The country of whirlpools is not an unknown country, but was formerly the land of the Uzumaki, where only the Uzumaki clan predominated, the strongest clan in the ninja world, where Kumakager, Iwagakure and Kurigakure joined to finish off that nation and lost more than half of their troops in the process, so the fact that this country is returned will be very problematic for our Kumagaker. Perry, Amoy and Atsui, upon hearing Derry's words about the country of whirlpools, opened their eyes in horror after an entire small village was able to fight against 3 towns, which demonstrates the power of the Uzumaki clan. Now they have no doubt that the Uzumaki clan is the strongest clan in the shinobi world. The Uzumaki clan is so powerful, Carrie said with growing horror. She is proud, but not stupid, now she knows how powerful that clan is. I don't know very well what happened in that time, but I know that the power of the Uzumaki clan is enormous, and if they still remain in the shinobi world it will be problematic, especially because we no longer have the 2 tails. Derry sighed as he remembered the beautiful Jinchuriki. She was a cage-level powerhouse with her Bijuu, even he didn't know if he could defeat her if she used the power of the 2 tails. The genin looked at each other and sighed. They had a good relationship with Yujido, but they didn't say anything. It's not their place to talk about that subject. Who else is of concern? Derry asked, sighing, since he knew that when the Reikage finds out that Yuzu is alive, he will most likely want to capture an Uzumaki. After all, that was the obsession of the 3rd Reikage, and although the 4th Reikage was not obsessed with the Uzumaki clan, he knew well that he will not miss the opportunity to kidnap one of that clan. The next one is Menma Yuzumaki from the land of whirlpools. He is a young man of 12 or 13 years old and with black hair, so I felt he is even more dangerous than Gaara of the Sand and Kamimuro Kagaya of the whirlpool. He feels that the power of that child is close to or at the level of an elite jounin like you, Derry-san, said Amoy nervously. He knew that boy is very strong, maybe even stronger than his jounin, he has that feeling. So Uzumaki, but I'm surprised that the young man has black hair, maybe he isn't a pure Uzumaki. I'll inform the Reikage anyway, otherwise it would be very problematic. Derry thought, tired of all the information, and knew from the genin's faces that there was still more information that the genin would tell him. The other is Naruto Uzumaki from the Leaf Village. From what I saw he may be the most problematic, he seemed too calm facing us all, although his teammates I don't think they are that powerful. From what I saw his partner is the last Uchiha, and the other is a pink-haired girl, who from what I could see that girl is too weak, said Carrie, snorting at the end. That bubblegum hair seemed like a joke to the Kenwaichis. But then Uzumaki and Konoha, this will be more problematic than I thought. I will have to inform Lord Tsuchikage when you pass the Chunin exams, Kitsuchi said seriously, knowing that it will be a problem thanks to the existence of the country of whirlpools and that there are Uzumaki alive in the Leaf and the Yuzu. I understand we will pass the exam and make Lord Tsuchikage proud, the genin said seriously. They knew they had no need to comment on anything regarding Yuzu and the Uzumaki. But the Sandame Hokage, I was in a meeting with Kakashi. Since Naruto's behavior was getting stranger and stranger, it was as if he were another person. Lord Sandame, I think Naruto will be a problem if he is not controlled. According to what I could see, the boy changed completely. Now he is indifferent to his companions and sees them as if they were trash, said Kakashi with a frown. They will have to watch Naruto, he is the Jinchuriki, we cannot allow ourselves to lose him. Besides, there are no Uzumakas left in the village, and only an Uzumaki can contain 100% of the Kyuubi's power, so let him behave as he wishes, but keep an eye on him, ordered the Sandame seriously. Lose Lord Sandame, I will keep an eye on Naruto, but I still let him know that the boy's power may be on par with an elite jounin, so it will be very difficult to defeat him if I have a confrontation with the Sai Kakashi. Frowning, here is inside, somewhat annoyed by the Naruto issue. It seems that it has gotten out of control. He didn't think that making the boy an outcast would be counterproductive. So if the boy reveals himself, I will send you, Asuma and the Mokuton user with the three of you, it will be enough to contain Naruto, and if he reveals himself you have to capture him alive, we cannot lose the power of the Kyuubi, ordered the Sandaime seriously. I understand now, I'm leaving Lord Sandaime, sighed Kakashi. He has a bad feeling, he feels that something bad will happen to the village. With Naruto he was with a big smile and had fun introducing himself to the different opponents. Now he has to think about how to contact Menma and the rest. He hoped that everything goes well and he can weaken Iwagakure, Sunagakure and destroy Konogakure. You must be cautious, your behavior seems very hostile towards Konoha, so I suppose they will send several elite ninjas to watch you, said Kurama seriously, knowing the behavior of the old monkey and the one-eyed Danzo. I don't care about them. According to the information I have, Iwagakure, Sunagakure and Otogakure, commanded by Orochimaru at present, Konoha does not have enough combat power to defeat these three villages. If it were only Sunagakure and Otogakure, even Konoha could, but with Iwagakure on the table, Konoha will not have much hope unless, with three Jinchurikis being the 4. 5 and 1 tail, said Naruto indifferently, knowing that Konoha will not be able to resist those three villages, especially since there is the Kazekage, Tsuchikage and Orochimaru, each one being very problematic. I know the Konoha doesn't have many chances of winning, but you have to be careful, we don't want them to attack you before the invasion begins. Also, remember that Konoha has Jiraiya, the full Sandaime Hokage, Kakashi who is your sensei, Danzo, Shimura and Guy, each one is powerful in their own right, and even cage level shinobi would have to be careful with them, said Kurama. Lose, but the invaders also have strong shinobi, this one-tailed Jinchuriki Gaara, Raza the 4th Kazekage, Inoki the Sandaime Tsuchikage, Han the 5-tailed Jinchuriki, Rashi the 4-tailed Jinchuriki, Kitsuchi the son of Inoki and Orochimaru the Snake Sand, and each of these are cage-level powerhouses. You also have to think that the cage of Kumagakure will most likely also come to the Chunin exams if his genin passed the test, and if so, he will most likely attack Konoha or attack you. You should know that the one who most covets the Uzumaki clan was Kumagakure, said Kurama, knowing what happened to Kushina. If the Raikage tries something I'll kill him just like that, Naruto said indifferently, as if killing a cage was the simplest thing in the world. Kurama sighed, he knew how stubborn Naruto is, but with Shisui, Menma and the rest of the shinobi he wouldn't be in any danger, since there are several cage-level powers that even he would have a lot of trouble dealing with. You still have to be careful, remember that the Raikage is considered the fastest ninja, he could even come close to your speed or Shisui's, you shouldn't be confident, Naruto said Kurama seriously. Naruto snorted, he was already in the super shadow range, maybe even stronger, he wasn't afraid to face a simple Raikage, but he would still heed his best friend's warning. Kurama looked at Naruto with narrowed eyes and sighed, somewhat annoyed by Naruto's behavior, but he didn't say anything else regarding the Raikage issue. Your mother may come as a guard for the Uzukage. I wonder how all the Konoha ninja will react, said Kurama. He knew the crazy Redeed and knew that she wanted to kill everyone who hurt Naruto. He wondered if Kushina would kill Hiruzen or Jiraiya. That battle would be very interesting. The people of Konoha will be scared, my mother is the strongest Kunoichi currently and a powerhouse at the peak of the shadow rank, so she could deal with any of the powerhouses of Konoha, Naruto said indifferently. Kurama snorted, knowing the power of the crazy Redeed, even he would have some trouble defeating her. Get ready to go to the exams and if possible try to make the bubblegum hair woman mute. I can't stand her voice, said Kurama, very irritated by the voice of that stupid woman. I'll do my best, but since I can't kill her it will be very complicated, Naruto sighed, also irritated by that silly girl. End of chapter. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching, if you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day, bye.